Small human form, Titan form, Lunaria form, ancient Titan form. Wilhelm suddenly proposed a bold conjecture about the artificial human fruit series. Even with Zone's devil fruit ability, generally speaking, it can't reduce the size of the ability user, it will only make it bigger. If it shrinks, it belongs to Paramecia's ability, unless it is a special ability of some kind of phantom beast. Dr. Hawkins, a fanatical lunatic scientist, couldn't help but his eyes lit up, and he became a little excited. Although it may not be possible to make the Titans smaller, it may really not be too much to make normal humans bigger. Big question. The inherent strong physique and exaggerated strength of the Titans allow them to become powerful fighters with a little exercise. Human giant experiment. For a long time, it has been one of the problems that human scientists want to overcome. And the world government, which has ruled the sea for hundreds of years, has persisted in secret research for hundreds of years. But by Wilhelm such a little dial, it made Dr. Hawkins feel like he was seeing the fog behind the clouds, and his thoughts were flowing like a spring. At the age of 31, I couldn't wait to drive Wilhelm and Shaurin out, hurried to the experimental base on the basement floor, and discussed the topic of Wen Yi with Vegapunk and other scientists who were formerly members of the Marine Science Corps. At the same time, Wilhelm was taken from the lab. There is also the ability of the artificial phantom beast species and dragon form. Because, now Dr. Hawkins has obtained all the knowledge and achievements of Vegapunk, a genius scientist, and no longer needs it. For other people, the ability of this artificial phantom beast dragon form researched using the genes of Kaido of the beasts may not be 100% suitable. But for Yamato, the daughter who perfectly inherited the blood of Kaido of the beasts, it is the most suitable. Maybe, it can really bring out the ability of this artificial phantom beast 100%. Shave. On the golden sand. Two tall and beautiful figures clashed fiercely there. Hancock's figure was like lightning, and he rushed to Yamato in an instant, and kicked out fiercely with his showy legs, but was almost blocked by Yamato. It has already relied on its own considerable talent. In a short period of time, he perfectly mastered the shaving in the 6 styles. Yamato, who was about to counterattack, glanced at the approaching Wilhelm with sharp eyes. Stomping under his feet, he got rid of Hancock in an instant, and Madoka also mastered shave. He rushed to Wilhelm, showing a happy smile. Wilhelm, big brother. Master Wilhelm. Hancock, Garrett and others beside him ran up one after another. He touched Yamato's head and stroked Hancock's pretty face. Wilhelm looked at Hancock and the others, and said directly, Hancock, Sandersonia, Marigold. I'm going to the calm belt on the first half of the Grand Line. Are you going back to Amazon Lily? I can send you back by the way. Really? The 3 sisters couldn't help trembling when they heard this. Looking at Wilhelm in surprise and joy, his voice was trembling, and he couldn't believe it. Although they lived comfortably here and were not treated harshly, Amazon Lily is their hometown. How can you not miss it? Certainly. Wilhelm nodded towards the 3 of them, then looked at the leader Hancock, and said with a light smile, after returning to Amazon Lily, you can stay there if you want, I won't force you to follow me. Left and right, this girl is already in his shape. Even if he really became the emperor of Amazon Lily, he would still belong to him. Master Wilhelm. Hancock shuddered and turned pale. Could it be because of her poor performance these days? Does the current Lord Wilhelm look down on herself? That's why he gave up on himself without hesitation and let him go back to Daughter's Island? Don't think too much. Wilhelm raised an eyebrow. The golden eyes stared at her, squeezed the smooth pretty face, and comforted with a light smile. No matter where you are, you will always be my trustworthy subordinate. I just let you choose for yourself. Sandersonia and Marigold just go back. Hancock looked at Wilhelm obsessively. His expression was full of determination, and he said without hesitation, I am willing to stay here and follow you, Mr. Wilhelm, for the rest of my life. Elder sister, the 2 sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, stared blankly at Hancock. Is that so? Wilhelm nodded, and didn't say anything hypocritically. Relatively speaking, Hancock followed him in New World and was more fully honed than in the first half of the Grand Line. So, he made a hook with his right hand. The 2 sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, were stunned. After subconsciously catching it, Shuangshuang was surprised to find that it was actually 2 devil fruits with strange shapes. This is the ability of Cat Fruit Flower Madara Leopard form and Cat Fruit Snow Leopard form. You have all obtained the 6-style practice method, and the 9 snakes themselves have a long hockey heritage. Wilhelm directly said to the 2 sisters Sandersonia and Marigold, I believe that as long as you work hard enough, the strength of the 2 of you will not be weak in the future. He is very generous. These 2 fruits sent out. It can be said that it is far better than the ability of the 2 sisters to force them to eat the snake fruit python form, snake fruit king cobra form for the sake of celestial dragons. If they work hard enough, I believe their future achievements will not be too bad. If you don't take the initiative to provoke Marine in the first half of the Grand Line, it will be more than enough to lead the 9 snake pirates to guard the daughter island in the calm belt. Thank you, Master Wilhelm. The 3 sisters were overjoyed and grateful. Especially Hancock was full of joy and excitement. There were ripples in my heart, as if the whole person was about to melt. She thought that Master Wilhelm did not hesitate to hand over 2 of these devil fruits to Sandersonia and Marigold for her own sake. Of course, Wilhelm didn't just value Hancock in order to relieve his worries. It is also for the convenience of being able to control Daughter Island in the future. Wilhelm, big brother, I'm going too. I also need to go. Plim wants to go too. Heard that Wilhelm was leaving New World. Take the 3 Hancock sisters to the first half of the Grand Line, to the legendary Daughter Island. No matter if it was Yamato, Garrett, or Prim, all of them had bright eyes, raised their little hands, and shouted to follow. Ah, I want to go too. The 15th daughter, Strong, and the 16th daughter, Sneyman, spoke with smiles. They used to like to follow Wilhelm on adventures, especially when they went to the first half of the Grand Line to find each other. Speaking of which, I haven't left New World since I was born. Custard, the 6th daughter of the Charlotte family, couldn't help but feel a little interested. And the maid Mise Olib on the side came over, also smiling expectantly. The meaning was self-evident. As a maid, wherever the Master Wilhelm, she should naturally follow. I'll just stay and sit in town. Having just finished practicing sword skills, the sweaty Smoothie shrugged. She is very aware of her uniqueness. Logia Thunderfruit's ability can be called invincible. But because of this, I need to make more efforts to meet Wilhelm's expectations. You can also rely on your huge heart network to stay on the island of love to ensure nothing goes wrong. Then I'll go too. Lightly puffing out the smoke ring, the 3rd woman, Armand, chuckled lightly. The 4th daughter Yasho shrugged, and said happily, it's just right, let's see what the daughter's country looks like. I won't go. The 9th daughter, Bloyer, chuckled lightly. She has a lazy temperament, prefers to be quiet but not to move, and prefers to stay on the island of love rather than to travel. Moreover, Wilhelm's General Star Fleet cannot be managed without assistance. And Smoothie's current main task is to improve his strength as much as possible. Although there is no problem with the experience and talent of Sakamuni, who is the human fruit, phantom beast, and great Buddha form ability, but Wilhelm has high hopes for him. His current mission is the same as Smoothie's. In addition to the tasks assigned by Wilhelm himself, the main thing is to practice hard and try to truly reach the level of monsters. As for cadres such as Shiryu of the Rain, Miyamoto Musashi, Swordsman Ryoma, Feathered Snake Kerr, Kamaitachi, etc., in addition to practicing and improving their own strength, they are more suitable to serve as combatants of the Wilhelm fleet on weekdays. Then it's decided. Although there were too many people to take out, Wilhelm did not refuse. With a hook with his right hand, he instantly activated his own ability to transfer fruit. In a blink of an eye, Gecko Moria, Shiryu Rain, Swordsman Ryoma, Miyamoto Musashi and others appeared directly in front of Wilhelm, Yamato, Armand, Garrett, Hancock and others. Master Wilhelm. My lord, what are your orders? Is there any mission? Sakamuni, Shiryu of the Rain, Miyamoto Musashi, Swordsman Ryoma, Moria, Kamaitachi and others all looked at Wilhelm in surprise. There is indeed a mission. Wilhelm wasn't selling anything. Looking at Gecko Moria, who was full of curiosity, he cut straight to the point and ordered directly. Moria, you take Pado to West Blue, bring back the body of the Devil Oz, and put it on the Vermejo Islands, and I will see you later. Let me give you the life card that Smoothie guides the way. Left and right. Charlotte Linlin has just been pregnant with the blood of the three-eyed family for less than 2 months, and the expected date of delivery is almost June next year. With more than half a year to go, Wilhelm didn't have to be so impatient to resurrect the body of Oz the Devil. And also to go to North Blue to capture Germa 66's human transformation technology. After Charlotte Linlin gave birth to this child, he planned to use science and technology to make Charlotte Linlin pregnant with the blood of the Lunaria race and the ancient Titan race at the same time. And carry out pedigree factor modification on them. Anyway, having twins or something. For Charlotte Linlin, it has long been a routine. A year ago, I had just given birth to 10 babies. The 10 tuplets were among the many children of the Charlotte family. Very few of them were completely indistinguishable from normal people. If it wasn't too young, Wilhelm really planned to bring the island of love to cultivate. Obey. Because the Big Mom pirates defeated Marine's expedition fleet, the momentum is high, and there are no short-sighted pirates who dare to come to find fault. Gecko Moria grinned his teeth and nodded in a panic. Beaver Okay, boss. Pado nodded happily. Wilhelm said directly to Pado. Also, Pado, give me some deformed leaves. Next, send the two sisters Sandersonia and Marigold back to Daughter Island in the Calm Belt, which is located in the first half of the Grand Line, adjacent to South Blue, and find Ruskina's words. He didn't plan to come back so soon, he was going to travel around the world. At that time, use Pado's transformation leaf directly. Let Golden Lion use the ability of Lion Fruit to bring back the Beast Island, and place it not far from Toto Land Sea area, near the Vermejo Islands adjacent to Calm Belt. Anyway, if Dr. Hawkins needs those beast genes, just ask Shiryu of the Rain and others to go to Vermejo to collect them. Of course, traveling does not mean letting go of practice, but to better settle yourself. Wilhelm looked at the calm Sakamuni and the jumping Kamaitachi, two people with diametrically opposite personalities. Kamaitachi and Sakamuni, there is no need for you two to be exposed to people so quickly, and you are responsible for staying on the island of love. As for Shiryu, if you have time to lie, looking at Yuji Shiryu, Feathered Snake Kerr, Miyamoto Musashi, Sword Hero Ryoma and others, he said indifferently. Just lead the fleet to attack around and subdue some pirate groups with bounties worth over 100 million yuan. Alright. Leave the ones with decent combat power, and lock them up as coolies or experimental subjects if they are too useless. Those who don't want to join the Big Mom pirates, you know what to do. Clear. No problem. Heard the words. The eyes of Shiryu and the others became hot, and they were worried that there was no use for them. They all showed smiles, although they all knew that they needed to work hard to familiarize themselves with their devil fruit abilities and find ways to improve their strength. But compared to Sakamuni, who has a calm temperament, endures loneliness, and devotes himself to cultivation, such a combination of work and rest expedition is more suitable for them. 7. Moreover, such tempering is also a kind of practice. Dusk fell. On the vast sea, a huge ark sailed across the sky. But it didn't make a noisy da-da engine sound as usual. On the training ground of the ark, Yamato, Hancock, Garrett, Prim, Sandersonia, and Marigold were ordered by Wilhelm to practice hard there. Elderly daughters of the Charlotte family, such as Armand, Yasho, Snarman, Strong, etc., gathered leisurely in the leisure area of the bow after some self-disciplined training and played poker. Brother Wilhelm, it has been 2 days since we left the waters of Toto Land. Custard, the sixth daughter of the Charlotte family who is a cultivator, shook her head in sweat and walked out of the training ground. That pretty doll face was full of curiosity, and asked Wilhelm. According to the flying speed of Lion Fruit, it is several times faster than ordinary ships. It stands to reason that they are almost at the red line, right? The Forgotten Island you mentioned, hasn't arrived yet? Don't be so anxious, isn't it already there? Silver-white long hair fluttering in the wind. Looking ahead at a small island that was getting bigger and bigger in the distance, Wilhelm chuckled lightly. Is it? Mise Alib, a beautiful maid, brought up the juice. She followed Wilhelm's gaze. Noticed the small island. Master Wilhelm. What is on that island? Wilhelm shrugged, but he didn't hide it. It is said that there is a clue of the ability of a phantom beast devil fruit. I don't know if it is true or not. Forget the island, sleep in the ancient town. Unlike ordinary islands, it is located in the entrance area of the first half of New World. However, due to its weak magnetic force, it was not guided by the recording pointer. No longer within the main waterway of the main New World. Soon. In the gradually dimming night, the ark landed silently on Forgotten Island and stopped at Shangchun in sleeping ancient town. Wilhelm's huge and special observation hockey swept across every corner of the entire Oblivion Island. Finally, inside a strange cave ruins, he found what he wanted. Swipe. In an instant, Wilhelm's hand sank, and there was a purple apple-shaped devil fruit with strange patterns. Okay. Custard was a little surprised. Is this the ability you were looking for? Speaking of which, Master Wilhelm, your observation hockey is really amazing. Miss Olive was amazed. Even the subtle changes between devil fruit and ordinary fruits can be scanned and distinguished. She can imagine. What a huge project that is. There must be countless palm-sized fruits on the entire island. But Wilhelm was able to accurately identify this devil fruit, and directly used the ability to transfer the fruit to transfer it over. The observation hockey of the General Strong can only recognize breath and sound at most. That's bat fruit, phantom beast, vampire form? Armand, who was attracted, looked at the purple apple-shaped fruit in Wilhelm's hand, and his pupils shrank. Another phantom beast with the ability. A vampire? Is it the legendary vampire? Sneyman, Strong and the others who also walked over were a little surprised. Not bad, but it has advantages that other devil fruit abilities don't have. Staring at the bat fruit, phantom beast, and vampire form ability in Wilhelm's hand, Armand took a deep breath. For women, the attraction is not ordinary. Oh? Wilhelm raised his eyebrows and looked at Armand in surprise. I didn't expect, Sister Armand, you actually know the ability of this phantom beast vampire form. Of course, as a woman, as long as the Devil Fruit illustrated book, I have paid attention to the ability to keep people youthful, and wrote it down. Armand puffed out the smoke lightly, and said with some regret, but unfortunately, there is no luck. That's right, it can plunder other people's youth and lifespan, supplement itself, and keep the capable person in a state of prime. Tossing the ability of this phantom beast vampire form, Wilhelm put on a faint smile, and said bluntly, but it's not just the eternal youth. This is a rare one that can directly make people, immortality, ability. Immortal? You mean, does it make you live forever? Heard the words. The pupils of Snarman, Custard, Mise Olive and other women who were present couldn't help shrinking their pupils. Somewhat inexplicably shocked, staring blankly at the phantom beast vampire form ability in Wilhelm's hand, he couldn't believe it, and couldn't calm down. In this world, is there really the ability to obtain eternal life? What an incredible ability. Don't be so surprised, isn't Monder's big brother's shoo-shoo fruit ability also able to make people stay young forever? Wilhelm shrugged. In a sense, that is also a power that can make people, longevity. It's just that after the death of this ability user, the ability of shoo-shoo fruit will be invalid. Of course we know, but the kind of eternal youth that is equivalent to freedom is nothing worth pursuing. The fourth woman, Yasho, snuffed out the cigarette butt, and threw it away coolly. Of course they know the history of the 19th son of the Xylot family, Mont Dole. Paramecia book fruit. It is even possible to create a physical space inside the book. Creatures that are imprisoned or entered in a book never age. But the price to pay is also not small, you must stay in the book world all the time. For the sons and daughters of the Charlotte family who are currently in their youth, this kind of youth forever is not very attractive. But you don't have to worry. Looking at the sisters of the Charlotte family, as well as his own maid Mise Olive, Wilhelm smiled and said, in this world, there is a way to make people stay young forever and gain longevity. Not just one or two. Don't worry, I already have some clues, and I won't let you leave me because of the power of time. Brother Wilhelm, my lord. Yo-hoo, ready. That's great, Yamato. After a sumptuous dinner. After being held and trained by Wilhelm for a day, they were finally liberated, and the restless little ghosts gathered together. Although he is 19 years old on the outside, he is only 9 years old mentally. Yamato, who has a lively personality, looks like a grown-up bear kid, and directly turns into a peach redhead, which is hundreds of meters long, like a fairy tale dragon. And Garrett, Prim, Hancock and others were all transferred to her body, holding onto the body of the red dragon tightly. Blossoming flame clouds emerged from under its claws, and rushed out there. Surrounded by clouds and mist, the peach-colored dragon seems to be able to ignore gravity and fly freely in the air. Carrying Hancock, Garrett, Prim, Sandersonia, Marigold and the others. There, they soared through the clouds and rode the fog, flying around the ark. These little girls are going crazy again. Castard was a little helpless. The dragon fruit, phantom beast, and dragon form, which is similar to the ability of Kaido of the Beasts, is really unbelievable. Armand and other women were a little amazed. Wilhelm handed over the artificial phantom beast ability to Yamato. It is declared to the outside world that it is the ability of the dragon fruit phantom beast species dragon form. But I didn't expect that the ability of this artificial phantom beast was surprisingly compatible with the girl Yamato. In addition to being a little uncomfortable at the beginning, he transformed randomly at every turn, which almost caused some damage. In just one night, she had completely adapted to the power of this artificial phantom beast. It is easy to directly create a flame cloud, fly in the air with it, and even directly transform into a human and animal form, without any difficulty at all. Although it is not yet possible to breathe out the dragon's breath with terrible heat like Kaido of the Beasts, and master the exaggerated ability to summon wind, rain, thunder and lightning. But this kind of performance made Wilhelm look forward to it. Originally, he just had the mentality of trying. But obviously, Dr. Vegapunk extracted the Kaido of the Beasts gene to create this artificial phantom beast ability, and as the daughter of Kaido of the Beasts, Yamato inherited the other party's lineage. It just doesn't fit too well. Otherwise, it would not be so easy to use freely. It is believed that it is only a matter of time to fully grasp the other potential abilities of this artificial phantom beast. According to Dr. Vegapunk, it is the ability of this artificial phantom beast, which will not directly endow the host with extremely powerful power like the real phantom beast _fish fruit _blue dragon form. Rather, it is equivalent to a power seed, rooted in the opponent's body. It will grow with the growth of the host. Maybe, for others. Not to mention exerting 70% of the ability of this artificial phantom beast, even exerting 50% of its power is an extravagant hope. But for Yamato, a little monster who has perfectly inherited the bloodline of Kaido of the beasts and is extremely talented, maybe he really has the hope of displaying 80%, 90%, or even 100% of his power. To be honest, Wilhelm was really looking forward to it. Yamato, who grew up in the future, turned into a dragon, and Kaido of the beasts, who turned into a blue dragon, fought with each other. I believe it must be wonderful. Nothing to say all night. Early morning. A huge ark came across the sky. Landed on the port of the bubbly and beautiful Saboti archipelago. Instantly attracted the attention of many people. And the eyeliners of Marine and CP on the island are even more busy reporting the news to naval headquarters and world government as soon as possible. That is, the flying ship is the flag of the Big Mom pirates. Gulu, the great pirate of the New World, actually appeared here. It's the Trembling Lord, Hiss, a monster with a bounty of 2 billion Baileys. Huge ark. Landed there swaggeringly. At the port, many passengers, pirates, residents, marines, etc. inevitably panicked. Cowardly, I looked at the figures on the ark, with fear, curiosity, uneasiness, and awe. Wow. So beautiful. Awesome. Here. Yamato, Garrett, Prim and the others. I couldn't wait to jump off the ark. Is this the Saboti archipelago? Armand, Yasho, Custard, and others who had never been here before couldn't help but their eyes lit up. And Garrett, Prim, and Yamato, the three immature little girls, had bright eyes and were a little excited. After several people landed, the huge ark turned into the sky again. You guys take these little girls to visit this island first. Wilhelm directly said to Armand, Custard and other women. I will take Hancock and the others to meet someone. He believes that as long as the Marine and the world government are not out of their wits, they will not dare to make any small moves. Really annoyed him, with the unsolvable ability to transfer fruit. At least 90% of the celestial dragons on Marie Joyce will die. No problem. Armand, Yasho, Custard and other girls understand. Yamato clenched his fists, blinked his big eyes, and looked at Wilhelm curiously. Al. Wilhelm, big brother, won't you come with us? Big brother still has something to do, you guys play first. With gentle eyes, Wilhelm touched Yamato's head and said with a smile. Okay. Yamato nodded happily, squinting his crescent eyes extremely comfortably. Soon. Separated from Armand, Custard, Yamato and other women. Relying on the powerful observation hockey lock, Wilhelm directly took the three excited Hancock sisters to the number 13 peninsula of the Saboti archipelago. In front of a newly opened bar called Shocky's Ripoff. Ah, what a rare visitor. A woman with a lady's cigarette, short black hair, and sexy clothes. Looking at the uninvited guest, who came, his pupils shrank. Pluton, Silver Rayleigh isn't there? Wilhelm asked calmly. His observation hockey didn't notice any powerful aura on this island. As for the three Hancock sisters, they couldn't help being a little confused. Pluton. The little brother of Charlotte's family, if you wanted to find him, he came 2 days late. Breathing out the smoke lightly, Shacky said with a smile. Well, forget it. Wilhelm shrugged, I'm here mainly for the three of them. Talking. Hooked his fingers. Shacky, who was looking at the three Hancock sisters curiously, felt a blur in front of him. An old woman with white hair and somewhat stooped figure appeared in the room. Grandma knew. Shocky's pupils shrank. Huh? Shacky. Discovering that she suddenly appeared here, Gloriosa, who was a little wary at first, calmed down a little after seeing Maki. But soon he looked at the unbelievably handsome silver-haired boy in front of him in shock, and obviously recognized him. You are. The three of them, from the 9 Snakes Fighting Nation, were kidnapped to the Saboti archipelago auction, and I rescued them not long ago. Wilhelm looked at Gloriosa and asked calmly. You, the former emperor of the Amazon Lily, should know the location of the 9 snakes, right? Are you going to send them back personally, or should I send them back? Ex-emperor? Hancock, Sandersonia, and Marigold all looked at Gloriosa in shock. Some couldn't believe it. This gray-haired old woman was actually the former emperor of Amazon Lily? You three are from Amazon Lily? Gloriosa also widened her eyes, looking at the three Hancock sisters in surprise. There are indeed rumors that 3 girls from Amazon Lily were auctioned off on the island a while ago. They were originally taken by celestial dragons, but they disappeared suddenly, causing quite a bit of confusion. Shacky stubbed out the cigarette. She stared at the 2 sisters Sandersonia and Marigold behind Hancock, then looked at Wilhelm, and said slowly there. After that, the incident of Marie Joy's being invaded happened. It looks like you saved them. Gloriosa looked at the three Hancock sisters, and asked suspiciously, but, didn't you mean the three little girls? Why is she? He pointed to Hancock, who was the leader, young and beautiful, exuding infinite charm invisibly, and attracting attention. This, no matter how you look at it, doesn't look like a little girl, does it? Hancock, she's really only 12. Wilhelm shrugged, and said indifferently, it's just that she was ripened by the ability to ripen fruit, which is equivalent to growing 10 years old at once, so she looks like she is 22 years old in appearance, but her mental age it's still stuck at the age of 12. What? Shaki and Gloriosa both heard the words. I couldn't help my pupils shrinking sharply, a little unbelievable. The ability to make people grow 10 years old, it's incredible. I happen to be going to Ruske in Calm Belt, and send these two little girls back by the way. It would be best if you would tell me where they are. Wilhelm looked calm, looked at Gloriosa and said, of course, even if you are wary, it's okay if you don't want to tell me, it's just a matter of time. For a while. Whether it's Shaki or Gloriosa, they can't help but change their faces. After a moment of silence, Shaki felt a little helpless. With your incomprehensible ability to sneak into the world government without a sound and make them helpless, and your flying ship, it is really nothing to find Amazon Lily from the Calm Belt. Difficult. Spreading her hands, she said directly to Gloriosa, let's tell him the location. Leaning on a crutch made of a strange snake, the hunchbacked Gloriosa let out a breath and asked Hancock, answer me a question. What is the currency circulating on 9 Snake Island? Snake hair. The three sisters spoke in unison without thinking. Gloriosa asked a few more questions about Hydra. The three Hancock sisters answered fluently. Seeing Gloriosa has confirmed the three of them as citizens of Amazon Lily. Shaki looked at Wilhelm. Wait, you just said to send the two of them back? Then she pointed to Hancock, who was the leader, who was so beautiful. Sandersonia and Marigold just need to go back. Hancock said directly first, with a firm face on his face. I want to stay with Lord Wilhelm. Is that so? Gloriosa and Shaki heard the words. Seeing that Hancock's expression is firm, he doesn't seem to be forced to white. It was hard to say anything, and he nodded helplessly. Don't worry, she has the conqueror's aptitude. Staying in New World will give her a better temper than staying in a small fish pond like the first half of the Grand Line. Wilhelm said lightly. Conqueror's qualifications? Shaki's pupils shrank sharply. Looking at the beautiful Hancock in disbelief. Ah, that's really surprising. What? Hancock, she has the qualifications of a king. Gloriosa was inexplicably shocked. Immediately his complexion changed, and he said aloud with some excitement. No, if that's the case, Hancock will stay on 9 Snake Island. Where I want to stay is my freedom. Hancock glared at Gloriosa, and said with some impoliteness. You who abandoned the country and left alone, you have no right to treat me the future as dictating. She once heard from the adults of 9 Snakes Island that the former emperor of Amazon Lily abandoned the whole country and left alone for a man, causing unprecedented chaos on 9 Snakes Island without a leader, and the country almost had a big problem. Although she is infatuated with the perfect Mrs. Wilhelm now, and she is willing to give everything for him, she can fully understand Gloriosa's approach. But in any case, her life cannot be manipulated by an old woman who has abandoned the people. What? Abandoned the nation? The two sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, looked at each other in blank dismay. Some are confused and don't know why. Gloriosa's complexion changed upon hearing this. The whole person seemed to have aged 10 years all of a sudden, and his figure became even more stooped. After hanging her head in silence for a long time, she smiled wryly and said, You're right, I really don't have the qualifications. Only one person in millions of people may have the qualification of conquerors. That is, among the emperors of 9 Snake Island, there are only a handful of conquerors hockey. Gloriosa looked at the outrageously beautiful Boa Hancock, who somehow made her, even as a woman, reluctant to look away, and sighed softly there. Looking directly at Wilhelm, with a bit of anger, he asked in a deep voice. So, is this the reason why you used the ripe fruit ability to make Hancock grow for 10 years? This is equivalent to losing 10 years of youth and life to Hancock. For her, an old man who is getting older and feels the value of youth more and more, it is simply unacceptable. Hancock said directly and firmly. It's none of Mr. Wilhelm's business, it's my request. No. Wilhelm shrugged and admitted frankly. Actually, even if you didn't mention it beforehand, Hancock, I plan to do that. At this time, adjacent to Naval Headquarters, Marineford, Sabodi Archipelago. In the majestic Naval Headquarters building, the UNSHI Office C is the highest floor. What? Marine Marshal Kong, who was busy reviewing documents, couldn't help but change his face. Charlotte Wilhelm appeared in Saboti Archipelago? Tall and strong body, bold and grandiose sitting there. But whether it's the unconcealable fatigue on the face, or the bloodshot and red eyes, there will be some dark circles under the eyes. All this tells that the Marine Marshal is not having an easy time these days. The consequences of the defeat of the Marine Expeditionary Fleet far exceeded Marines' expectations. Right now, not only the first half of the Grand Line, but even the whole world is in unprecedented chaos. Marine is facing unprecedented challenges, and various internal problems and hidden dangers have emerged one after another. He, the Marine Marshal, is very busy, often working overtime, and has little time to rest. Yes, Marshal Kong. As Marine Staff Officer, Suru Vice Admiral, who was also full of exhaustion, said in a deep voice, "Although I don't know what his purpose is, I have been closely monitored. That guy. Why don't you stay in the waters of Todo Land? What are you doing in the first half of the Grand Line?" Kong frowned, a little confused. He was instinctively wary of the thrilling nobleman, who caused Marine's expeditionary fleet to suffer heavy losses and almost wiped out his entire army. Anyway, as long as he doesn't take the initiative to cause trouble, we'd better turn a blind eye and close one eye. Suru Vice Admiral let out a sigh of relief, and said with a headache, "In the negotiation with the Big Mom pirates, the other party opened their mouths, demanding too much, and almost made 5 elders vomit blood. Fortunately, after the hard bargaining by the CPO, the negotiations between the two sides have achieved some results. At this time, it is not a wise choice to circle that guy." Clatter. The sun was setting. On the sea, the waves are choppy. The huge ark flew across the sky. It also made the Marine and CP personnel, who had to bite the bullet and take the risk of surveillance, secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Yo-hoo, the Ferris wheel at the Saboti Archipelago is so much fun. If you want me to say, the roller coaster is more fun. Ferris wheel. Roller coaster. Above the ark. Playing in Saboti Archipelago all day, Yamato, who was full of excitement and couldn't get enough of it, was arguing with Garrett, Prim and the others there. The face was red and the ears were red, no one was willing to give in, and there was a lot of noise. "You little brats, you're making a lot of noise." Karstad stepped forward angrily, covering Hockey with his fingers. One person knocked a violent shudder lightly and hard, and then stopped. Everyone covered their heads with tears in their eyes. The aggrieved appearance makes people angry and funny. Is this the life card to Amazon Lily? Seeing the life card in Granny News, Gloriosa's hand, Hancock asked in surprise. Didn't this stubborn, obnoxious old woman choose love and leave the country alone? He actually has the life card of Amazon Lily. Back then, before I left, I quietly planted a life card on that island, Gloriosa said with some sighs. Because she was worried about Wilhelm and others, she decided to go back by herself. Moreover, her only wish now is to do her part to make up for the debt she owed to this country when she left Amazon Lily selfishly. I'm a little curious. Your Nine Snakes Island has existed for hundreds of years, and you haven't produced a real strong man. Wilhelm sat on the side of the boat and asked indifferently. Every emperor is the strongest of the Amazon Lily, Gloriosa said with some pride. This is the practice of the Nine-Snake fighting nation in the country of Amazon Lily. Only the most powerful woman is qualified to become the emperor of Nine Snake Island. Don't get me wrong. What I mean is, the monster who has cultivated Conqueror's Hockey to Ultimate is powerful enough to compete with the Admiral of Headquarters. Wilhelm shrugged. For example, high-level armament hockey and observation hockey who have mastered advanced skills such as internal destruction have been cultivated to the level of being able to temporarily foresee the future, and even mastered the high-level skills of Conqueror's Winding. This Gloriosa may have been strong when he was young, but it is obviously far from the level of monsters. Inner destruction, future vision, Conqueror's entanglement. Gloriosa's eyelids twitched. The 3 Hancock sisters, Armand, Sneyman, Custard and other daughters all looked over with some interest. At present, even their mother can only do 1 or 2 of them. Strictly speaking, they have not cultivated Conqueror's Hockey to Ultimate. As expected of the guy who almost wiped out Marine's expeditionary fleet, he even knows the ultimate state of the 3 hockey. Gloriosa looked at Wilhelm, feeling a little emotional. Generally speaking, you can do one of the 3 hockey levels you mentioned is already a rare genius in Amazon Lily. As far as I know, some extremely talented 9 snake emperors in the past were barely able to cultivate 1 or 2 types of hockey in the Conqueror's Hockey to Ultimate. As for whether they have fought against the Admiral of Headquarters, it is not clear. She rubbed her chin and said in a deep thought, the only one who can do all 3, maybe only the first-generation emperor of Amazon Lily. Hear, hear. Wilhelm lost interest. Amazon Lily's first-generation emperor, I'm afraid his bones will be turned into ashes. As for the other 9 snake emperors who barely cultivated 1 or 2 Haki to ultimate, relatively speaking, there is no way to attract Wilhelm. After all, in addition to Douglas Bullet and Red Earl Redfield, they are powerful prisoners. A while ago, Sakamuni and Pato brought back a lot of strong corpses from Impelled Down, and there are some guys who were famous in the past, who cultivated 1 or 2 kinds of Haki to ultimate, and made a lot of trouble in a certain era. What he really lacks is the ability of phantom beasts. Unless it is the kind of monster that has cultivated Conqueror's Haki to ultimate. It was worth investing the ability of the only phantom beast in his hand, the vampire form. It seems that the ability of this bat fruit, phantom beast, and vampire form is really related to that guy, Red Earl Rider. 2 days later, inside the Com Belt. The huge ark was lying in front of a classic pirate ship full of red and pulled by 2 giant snakes. Let a group of female fighters of the 9 snake pirates in cool clothes be vigilant. One by one was full of hostility and stood ready. Is that the 9 snake pirates? Custard stared at the female pirates of Amazon Lily. It's true that all of them are female. Sister Sakura, it's us, don't attack. Afraid of a conflict between the 2 parties, Sandersonia and Marigold ran out. Busy there, she said loudly to the headed, strong and tall female cadre of the 9 snake pirates. Sandersonia, Marigold? Why are you here? Great, we thought something happened to you. These days, you've been worrying about us to death. Where's your sister Hancock? Why haven't you seen her? Recognized Sandersonia and Marigold. For a while, the female fighters of the 9 snake pirates couldn't help but be overjoyed. While maintaining vigilance, he ordered 2 giant snakes to pull the boat closer to the ark. After obtaining Wilhelm's permission, Hancock, Sandersonia, and Marigold jumped onto the pirate ship of the 9 snake pirates. Sister Sakura, Sister Emma. The tall and beautiful Hancock happily said directly to the leader of the 9 snake pirates. I am Hancock, don't you know me? What? Are you Hancock? Nonsense, Hancock is only 12 years old. However, it seems to be a bit like. Sandersonia, Marigold, what's going on? It turned out to be like this. 10 minutes later. Together with the current emperor of 9 snakes, everyone in the 9 snake pirates, who learned about the cause and effect from the mouths of the 2 sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, felt inexplicable. I am very fond of Wilhelm, and others. The captain of the 9 snake pirates, currently the emperor of Amazon Lily, is named Barbaro Ma Shaw. With a body height of 3 to 4 meters, with bulging muscles, his body is full of explosive strength, and he is indescribably strong. Just standing there makes people break out in cold sweat. With a rough voice, she bowed gratefully to Wilhelm and the others on the ark. If Lord Wilhelm hadn't acted righteously, I'm afraid that the 3 sisters would have become slaves of the celestial dragons, thank you. She didn't expect that. The other party is so generous. Even the ability of devil fruit, known as the secret treasure of the sea, is willing to give to the 3 Hancock sisters. And her observation Haki can feel that the opponent's ship has a lot of powerful aura. Especially this young man gave her an extremely dangerous feeling, as if she was facing an extremely terrifying beast, which was impossible to despise. I never thought there would be such a handsome man in the sea. It doesn't look like it's annoying at all. And he is so kind-hearted. Fortunately, the 3 Hancock sisters met him. The fighters of the 9 snake pirates. There, he looked at the leader Wilhelm. Every time you say something to me, you can hardly help your eyes shine, and your eyes are full of heart. How can you see the disgust and rejection of men on weekdays? This surprised Armand, Custard and others, even Gloriosa was no exception. Could this be the legendary face value, that is, justice? Just do it as you please, you don't have to be polite. Sitting on the bow of the ark, Wilhelm said calmly, then, Sandersonia and Marigold, they will be handed over to you. He looked at the tall and attractive Hancock opposite, and said with a light smile, as for Hancock, you decide for yourself whether you want to leave with us or stay in 9 snakes. Of course following Master Wilhelm, on the pirate ship of the 9 snake pirates. Hancock looked at Wilhelm, eyes full of splendor, and he couldn't bear to look away. Clenching his fists, he said loudly with a firm expression, this is my lifelong promise, Boa Hancock. Eh? Hancock, don't you want to go back to China? It's dangerous outside. The members of the 9 snake pirates were a little shocked when they heard this. No one could believe that Hancock was unwilling to go back to 9 snakes with them, and wanted to follow those people on the opposite side. Hancock, are you serious? The current emperor of 9 snakes, Barbaru Martha, stood there with her arms folded, staring at Hancock, and asked in a deep voice. Master Martha, I am very serious, please forgive me. Hancock bowed to Barbaro Martha. Also, this is my way of repaying my gratitude, please agree. That's right. The fighters of the 9 snakes always repay their kindness. Humu looked at Hancock. Seeing that the girl was willing to follow her from the bottom of her heart, Barbaro Martha was a little tangled. But in the end there was no objection, and he nodded helplessly. Then it's up to you. I believe they will treat you well. She is not a fool, so she can tell the difference naturally. The Hancock sisters aren't having a bad day these days. Moreover, it is also stronger, a lot, and its breath is much stronger than before being taken away by human traffickers. All three of them were full of heartfelt gratitude to that man, which showed that the other party did not treat the three sisters harshly. At the moment, he turned to Wilhelm and said seriously, "Then, Mr. Wilhelm, Hancock will be counting on you. Maybe you don't pay much attention to the news, and you don't know the real identity of this person, so let me introduce you." Gloriosa jumped onto the boat of the 9 snake pirates, pointed to Wilhelm on the ark, and said in a deep voice, "This one is the 22nd son of the big pirate Big Mom of the New World, Trembling Gway's son, Charlotte Wilhelm. Despite his young age, the bounty is as high as 2 billion Baileys. He is a monster that even naval headquarters will be ready to fight." About half a month ago, in order to attack the Big Mom pirate group, naval headquarters did not hesitate to mobilize a large number of elite troops from the first half of the Grand Line, forming a force of more than 50,000 people, led by the Admiral of Headquarters Buddha Sengoku himself, another 10 naval headquarters Vice Admiral's expeditionary fleet. As a result, Marines suffered an unprecedented defeat. Even Admiral of Headquarters Buddha Sengoku was sacrificed. What? 2 billion Baileys. This little brother is offered a reward of 2 billion Baileys by Marine. Isn't he too young? You know, even Lady Martha's bounty is only 255 million Baileys. Even the 50,000 elite expeditionary fleet led by the Admiral of Headquarters, who is known as the highest combat power of the naval headquarters, died in the sand? Hiss. It's incredible, including Barbaro Martha. All the members of the 9 snake pirates couldn't help shrinking their pupils, looking at the unbelievably young and handsome Wilhelm in disbelief. They couldn't imagine that a silver-haired boy who looked so harmless to humans and animals was actually offered a reward of 2 billion Baileys by Marine. After all, even their emperor of the 9 snakes, the captain of the 9 snake pirates, Lord Barbaro Martha, was only awarded 255 million Baileys by Marine Kong. Don't look young, but Master Wilhelm is born invulnerable, with infinite strength, and his strength can easily cut mountains and seas. Looking at the performance of the 9 snake pirates, Hancock said proudly, "I believe he will become the world's #1 swordsman sooner or later." I see. Barbaro Martha took a deep breath. He looked at Wilhelm with a somewhat solemn gaze. Even if she doesn't pay attention to the news, she still knows what 2 billion Bailey means. "But you're supposed to be Gloriosa, right?" She looked down at Gloriosa full of disgust, and said in a cold voice, "As the former emperor of Amazon Lily, you who abandoned the people and left alone, you still dare to appear shamelessly in front of me, the emperor of 9 snakes, in front of..." What, the former emperor? Is she the Gloriosa who abandoned the country? This old woman is completely different from what I imagined. Everyone in the 9 snake pirates, they all looked at Gloriosa in disbelief. Wait, the current emperor Martha. I know that I am very selfish. I once abandoned the people and left without authorization, which brought great disaster to the country. Gloriosa looked ashamed. She knelt directly in front of Barbaro Martha, kowtowed heavily there, and said sincerely, "I am willing to spend the rest of my life to make up for my past mistakes. Please allow me to return to 9 snakes Island." Half a day later. 9 snake pirates and Ark Proverbs. They were all taken into midair by Wilhelm with the ability of lion fruit. According to the guidance of Barbaro Martha, the captain of the 9 snake pirates, they arrived at the beast island named Ruskina. Unbelievable ability. Everyone in the 9 snake pirates was inexplicable. Originally, it took a few days for the voyage, but I didn't expect to return to the vicinity of Amazon Lily so soon. This is Ruskina Island. Barbaro Martha pointed to Ruskina, which was lush with vegetation and roared from time to time, and said to Wilhelm in a deep voice, "I'm sorry, since ancient times, 9 snakes Island has had regulations that prohibit any man from setting foot on the island, although I can make an exception and let you land on 9 snake Island, but as a man, you cannot enter the city." Chi Ba Chi said. She glanced at it like brown sugar, she couldn't shake it off, and she wanted to follow them back to 9 snake Island, and she kept saying that even if she lived outside the city, she would never set foot in the city, and she was willing Gloriosa. "It's okay, I can reason." Wilhelm waved his hand, not caring. He pointed to Yamato, Armand, Custard, Mise Olive and other girls, and said with a smile, "Then, Prim and I will just stay on this island, and let them go on a tour with them. There's no problem at all, right?" It was him instead. "I will not easily trust an outsider. Even if the other party saved his own people." But the vigilance that should be there is still necessary. This is the basic quality that a normal king should possess. As the king of Daughter Island, it is already a great kindness to allow him to land on the island alone. Anyway, sooner or later, the seeds he sows will take root in Amazon Lily. The next emperor of 9 snakes, the 2 sisters Sandersonia and Marigold must be. Relying on the ability of cat fruit flower Madara leopard form and cat fruit snow leopard form. After the transformation, whether it is physical fitness or one's own strength, speed, nerve response, etc., all have greatly increased, and it seems that he has the qualifications to practice the 6 styles. Believe in their strength, they will soon usher in a huge leap. Certainly. Even if Barbaro Martha invited it herself. He also doesn't have much interest in visiting the 9 snakes. Help Prim subdue these beasts in Ruskina. The next step is to help this girl subdue those large sea kings in the calm belt. When they came out this time, they specially carried a large number of parasitic phone bugs. This is of course no problem. You saved Hancock and the others. They are our friends from 9 Snake Island, and they are our distinguished guests of Amazon Lily. Barbaro Martha, who was comparable to a strong man, patted her chest. If there were only women, she would naturally not object. I took Prim to tame those ferocious beasts in Ruske. Wilhelm stroked Prim's head, and said to Armand, Custard, Snayman and the girls, you just let's go to 9 Snake Island first. It is good, big not long. Arc proverb starts. There was a strong wind pressure gushing out. Follow the ship of the 9 snake pirates and head towards Amazon Lily. Wilhelm big brother, shall we begin? Filled with excitement, Prim asked happily. Although she couldn't go to Daughter's Island, she was happier to be alone with this Wilhelm big brother. And the mount she took over from Wilmere, a duck-like thunderbird named Billy by her, was also quacking and screaming excitedly. It transformed there at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into a white wolf with wings. The whole body was shining with electric light and crackling. Makes the scalp tingle. Ah! Firstborn with golden horns and snow-white body, the majestic Fingley growled unhappily. Not to be outdone, the body continued to expand, also turned into a griffin with wings. It is exactly the opposite of Fingley, who is a snowmastiff and has been given the bird fruit vulture form ability by Wilhelm. The main body of Thunderbird Billy is a strange bird with the ability to fly, an unknown species, and the ability to shock electricity. Wilhelm bestowed the ability of zone, dog fruit, and white wolf form. Don't be too careless, girl. Wilhelm reminded there are some powerful beasts on this island, even Sister Armand and the others will have to spend a lot of effort to take them down. It's not at the same level as the beast on Vermejo. See, the very wise Thunderbird Billy. Hear Wilhelm belittle his hometown. There they flapped their wings dissatisfied and shouted. Wilhelm looked calmly and glanced over. Do you have any objections? For a moment, it was dripping with cold sweat, shaking its head there. It's so lackluster, Billy. Prim patted its head angrily. 2 siblings, one riding Snowmastiff Fingley, the other riding Thunderbird Billy. It soon disappeared off the shore of Ruskina Island. Dive deep into this beast island. Ho ho. Wow Prim is full of energy and excitement. Holding the regiment launcher in hand, they fired regiments one after another at the ferocious beasts who were discovered by them, and even rushed out by themselves, opening their bloody mouths to attack. With Thunderbird Billy's excellent flying ability and extremely fast speed, he often avoided the attacks of those beasts without any danger. There are also ferocious beasts that are directly attacked by the electric current it sends out, and are easily stunned. One after another, the ferocious beasts are constantly being tamed. But Wilhelm just followed behind and didn't make a move. Only when encountering those ferocious beasts that were so powerful that Prim and Billy couldn't deal with them at all, did they use Conqueror's hockey to frighten them a little bit, and Prim took the opportunity to shoot immediately, using the dumpling launcher to send the dumpling into these beasts. In the mouth of the beast. It has to be said that there are some beasts here that are pretty good. When Dr. Hawkins led the scientific research team of Love Island, he successfully developed the man-made devil fruit of the human fruit series. Endow them with human shapes, even have the ability to transform into human and animal forms, and even improve their IQ to a certain extent. I believe that when the time comes, the fighting power of these ferocious beast legions will definitely be far more effective than simply using the ability to tame the fruit of the dumpling. Roar. Roar. On Ruskina Island, beast roars burst out. Thunderbird Billy, who was Prim's exclusive mount, flew high in the sky aggrieved. And below, there is Prim happily leaning in Wilhelm's arms and sitting on the back of Snowmastiff Fingley. Compared to riding alone, this half-octopus mermaid girl still prefers to be close to her Wilhelm big brother. Bolu, Bolu. Watching Prim using the ball launcher, He easily tamed an extremely ferocious mammoth into obedience. Wilhelm nodded in satisfaction. At this time, the special telephone bug in his pocket, which was transformed by Dr. Hawkins using the ability of munch fruit, not only can maintain communication across extremely long distances, but also can prevent eavesdropping, suddenly rang. I'm Wilhelm. Wilhelm, I'm Smoothie phone bug. Simulates the outline of a smoothie. With joy on her face, she said directly to Wilhelm. According to the signal sent by the Sea Kings tamed by Prim, the sea beast troop we sent out successfully found a devil fruit there. Did you really find? Sitting in Wilhelm's arms, Prim, who was a little blushing, was amazed. She obviously didn't expect to subdue those Sea Kings. It was a surprise to them so quickly. Oh. Wilhelm was a little surprised as he easily grasped the smooth stalwart. It seems that the effect is really good. He really didn't expect that the effect of subduing these Sea Kings and letting them look for devil fruit would be so good. Only a few days later, I found a devil fruit. The quality of the devil fruit harvested this time is very good. Smoothie, who was far away on the other end of the phone bug, said happily. According to the comparison of the devil fruit illustrated book, it is confirmed that it is a paramecia golden fruit. Paramecia golden fruit? Wilhelm chuckled. Without much thought, he directly said to Smoothie, who was far away in the waters of Toto Land. Then give it to that guy Tezzolo. Tell him, don't let me down. Tezzolo? For a while, his performance is really good, and he has gradually revealed a good potential. Smoothie nodded, not very surprised. Wilhelm rescued Tezzolo from Marie Joyce as a slave to the celestial dragons. Although it was easy, but with her picky and tricky eyes, if Tezzolo didn't have considerable talent, it would be impossible to bring him out with her brother's character. For a long time, Wilhelm had no intention of bestowing the devil fruit ability on the other party. Both she and Shiryu and others subconsciously believed that Wilhelm might be trying to test. As everyone knows, Wilhelm didn't even think about testing Tezzolo, but was letting him train rigorously to improve his own strength, waiting for this paramecia golden fruit to appear. From childhood to adulthood, all experiences have been frustrated because of money. Even becoming a slave of the celestial dragons is largely because he has no money and cannot even buy the woman he likes, and was easily bought by the rich and powerful celestial dragons. He lost his mind in anger and got angry at celestial dragons. As a result, he was caught and became a slave to the nobles of the world. Although Tezzolo didn't show it, he already had a deep attachment to the power of gold that symbolizes money in his heart. Only such a guy can hope to develop the ability of paramecia jinjin fruit to the awakening in the shortest possible time. In this case, there is no need to waste time here. Hang up the phone. Wilhelm smiled. Compared to slowly subduing those beasts, or directly speed up the acquisition of more Sea Kings, the rewards are even greater. Right now what Prim needs most is to practice step by step, so don't worry about sharpening. Then, it's just less than 2 or 3 hours. The huge observation hockey scanned the entire island, and Wilhelm directly used the ability to transfer fruits to transfer the beasts on the entire island one after another, and frightened them with Conqueror's hockey. Together with the astonishingly powerful boss, the entire Ruskina Beast Island, all those big and small beasts have been subdued by Prim. Go. Next, go find those Sea Kings, 3 days. In addition to the necessary meals, rest and other time. Wilhelm all with Prim. In this calm belt adjacent to South Blue. Find, capture, and tame Sea Kings of all sizes, large, medium, and small. During the period, I also found another beast island. Although it is not as good as Ruskina, it is better than nothing. Wait until Yamato, Hancock, Garrett, Armand, Sneyman, Custard and other daughters, under the kind hospitality of 9-Snake Emperor Barbaro Martha, visited Daughter Island for 2 or 3 days, riding the Ark proverb follow the guidance of the lifeguard, when you find it. In front of them. It is an exaggeratedly huge Sea King's army that can't be seen at a glance, densely packed, covering the entire sea surface. It can definitely make people with intensive phobia feel their scalp explode on the spot. Hiss. So many Sea Kings. Is this the ability of paramecia dango fruit? Although I know it's exaggerated, when I actually see it, there is always an indescribable shock. Looking at the overwhelming Sea King's army of different sizes and races, ranging from a dozen meters long to hundreds of meters long. Whether it's Yamato, Hancock, and Garrett, who are still young in mental age, or Armand, Custard, who are already adults, they are all dumbfounded at the same time. Can't help scalp numbness. It wasn't until this moment that they felt intuitively how exaggerated the power of the paramecia dumpling fruit Wilhelm gave Prim. Prim is amazing. Seeing Sister Armand, Sister Karstad, and others who are similar in mental age, Yamato, Hancock, Sister Garrett and other friends who are very close to me on weekdays, They were completely shocked. Wearing a special device, Prim held his head proudly. Don't be so surprised. A single dumpling fruit may not be able to display two amazing abilities. Touching Prim's head, Wilhelm smiled and said to Armand and the girls, at the very least, if there is no special parasitic phone worm created by Ain using the ability of Paramecia Munch Munch fruit combined with technological power, how would you want to be? It won't be so easy to give orders to tame beasts and sea kings like you are. Can make these sea kings who have no IQ. Even if they are thousands of miles away, they can easily receive orders from Prim, the master, and even if they find devil fruit, they can send a strong radio signal to the headquarters of the Island of Love, so that they can send someone to receive it. That special parasitic phone worm is indisputable. It's all gone. Prim, who had already assigned the task of finding devil fruit and finding lanternfish, ordered directly through the microphone device he wore. Clatter. Crash. Ocean, it's really amazing. The sun was setting. Calm belt, Ruskina, coast. Looking at the sparkling, golden, vast and beautiful sea illuminated by the setting sun, the past 2 days, Garrett and the others have had a lot of trouble in the Amazon Lily of the Daughter Island, making Barbara Martha, the Emperor the helpless Yamato was full of excitement. I feel more and more that I left Wanokuni with Wilhelm, which is an extremely correct choice. On the sea, there are all kinds of people, all kinds of strange species, beautiful islands. Much grander and more exciting than Kazuki Oden's diary. And Hancock, Garrett, Prim and the others beside her are no exception. As long as they can follow their master Wilhelm, Big Brother, no matter where they go, they will be bright sunshine. Wilhelm, now that the two sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, have been sent back to Daughter Island, where shall we go next? Carefully maintaining his saber there, Strom casually asked Wilhelm who was practicing there. Lifting heavy objects up and down, Wilhelm, who was exercising his body, said profusely in sweat. Later, I will use Pado's transformation leaf to transform into a golden lion, and use the ability of lion fruit to transform Ruth the Vermejo islands that Kana brought to the New World. When the time comes, go to the prehistoric island first to meet Blue Ogre and Red Ogre. The plan has changed a bit. There is no need for Blue Ogre to hide in that little garden anymore. His arms tense. Holding a ridiculously heavy barbell with an anthropomorphic smile, he kept lifting it up and down. The boulders on the shore were all screaming and cracking. I saw the barbell singing happily there. 1,000 tons, 1,000 tons. Not enough. Increase to 5,000 tons. Yes, Master Wilhelm. 5,000 tons, 5,000 tons. This barbell is not just a barbell. It is similar to Tanuki Pado, the homie's life created by Wilhelm from the strong and heavy liquid form memory alloy, with the ability to transfer fruit, and using the soul power stored in the cloud teeth to inject it into it. And, let it eat the Paramecia tons of pressed fruit obtained from the golden lion. Let it become a very special homie's life, with the ability to deform and freely manipulate its own weight, and the number 1 is marked on it, and it is named, Wit 1. The maximum unit it can adjust as ton, and the limit is 10,000 tons. In addition to being used as dumbbells, it can also be transformed into various weapons, such as an épée that is suitable for swordsmen for special training and can freely adjust the weight. On weekdays, it is mainly used as exercise equipment to assist myself and Armand, Karstad, Hancock, Yamato and others in their practice. Even if necessary, it can be directly transformed into a light and invulnerable shape memory alloy battlesuit to wear on the body. Quack, Wilhelm's veins popped, but still hold it steady. Along with the homie's barbell named, Wit number 1, it uses its own ton weight to reach an exaggerated weight of 5,000 tons. Boom. Dusty. The boulder was directly crushed. Wilhelm's legs sank. The earth is covered with shocking cracks. Striking yes. In Wilhelm's hand, except for the exquisite and unpretentious 10 rings, ring. Above the right wrist, there is also a silver-white alloy bracelet. The word, 2, is marked on it, which symbolizes that it is, Wit. It also showed an anthropomorphic expression, singing there, 10 times the weight, 10 times the weight. Unlike tons of pressed fruit, this is a homie's bracelet made of shape memory alloy. Given by Wilhelm as the Paramecia weight fruit, it can multiply or reduce the weight of itself and the target, and the limit is 100 times. It was also directly used by Wilhelm as a tool to assist cultivation. Increasing one's own weight by 10 times is not just as simple as lifting an object 10 times its own weight. Instead, wait for it to directly bear 10 times the gravity. If the physical strength is not enough, it may be burst and crushed by the skyrocketing weight in an instant. 50 times the weight. Yes, Master Wilhelm, 50 times the weight, 50 times the weight. For a moment, the weight of Wilhelm's whole body soared to 50 times. In addition to lifting thousands of tons of heavy objects, it is equivalent to bearing 50 times the gravity. All the blue veins burst out, and the muscles all over the body were violently rhythmic. In an instant, every inch of skin, every inch of flesh, every inch of bone in the body seemed to weigh as much as 1,000 weights. It is so heavy that it wants to crush people, it is unimaginable. Kacha kacha. The earth is constantly cracking. The exaggerated weight made the coast unable to bear it at all. Hey, Wilhelm, is that too much? Seeing his eyelids twitching sharply, Snarman said helplessly, don't hurt yourself. Don't worry, I know what to do. That heavy body was full of violent power. Strenuously supporting the ridiculously exaggerated dumbbell. Drenched in sweat, with tense muscles all over his body and flushed face, Wilhelm gritted his teeth and spoke in a low voice. Only to this extent can he feel the real pressure as a natural monster whose physique is far superior to that of the Titans. This is why he did not hesitate to transfer the abilities of these two devil fruits to Homies' life. Tisk tisk, let alone 5,000 tons, just 1,000 tons. Armand puffed out the smoke lightly, and said slowly, even those Titan warriors who have experienced many battles in Albaf, it is difficult to lift them up. Moreover, I am also bearing a weight that has suddenly increased by 50 times, which makes my scalp tingle. Qian Li Jiaochang. The fourth daughter, Yasho, was filled with emotion. They have all used the abilities of weight fruit and tons of fruit to assist their cultivation, but they hardly use both at the same time. Because even if it's just any one, the range of abilities is far beyond their limit, enough to assist in cultivation. And Wilhelm, in the case of holding thousands of tons of barbells for a long time, he also bears the gravity 50 times that of his own body at the same time. Even, it still hasn't reached the limit that he can bear. It's just unbelievable. After all, Wilhelm's physique is the same as that of his mother, far superior to that of the Titans. Not far away, Castid, who was preparing dinner with Mies Olive, Wilhelm's exclusive maid, was handling a large sea beast, and said proudly. Those jewel-like eyes looked at Wilhelm's body training there, exuding indescribable splendor. Make no secret of your admiration. Clatter. The huge ark sailed across the sky. On the undulating sea, the waves are blooming. Following the lifeguard that Smoothie had left on the prehistoric island before, as a guide, he continued to move towards the entrance of the first half of the Grand Line. The stern of the ark. A body several meters long, and dripping sea beast carcasses. Suspended by ropes, dragged on the sea. After a few days of boring sailing, being detained by Wilhelm for practice every day, and rarely being given a half-day vacation, 4 little girls, Yamato, Hancock, Garrett, and Prim, who didn't need to train, frolicked and gathered there. Next to it, there is the dumpling made by Prim with his devil fruit ability. Roar. I saw the sea. A huge black shadow. Approaching at a speed visible to the naked eye. A gigantic monster suddenly emerged from the sea. With those interlaced ferocious sharp teeth, it fiercely bit the bloody sea beast. Look at my. Yamato stood on the side of the boat, holding a dango launcher. Fiercely toward the sea surface hundreds of meters below, the Sea Kings, which was 30 to 40 meters long and made the scalp tingle, shot out. Although the regiment hit the Sea Kings, it failed to fall into its mouth. Totally tickled at Sea Kings. Call out. And Prim, who has a quick eye and a quick hand, holds another regiment launcher. Skillfully and accurately sent the dumpling into the mouth of the Sea Kings. On the other hand, Hancock and Garrett were busy pulling up the sea beast that was used as bait for the first time. So as not to be eaten by that Sea Kings, they still have to keep playing. Here, Yamato, you lost again. Prim held up the regiment launcher. Satisfied, he looked at Yamato, who was a little downcast, and pulled his face across his face. As she spoke, she ordered directly to Poseidon, who ate the dumpling. Floating on the sea, don't move. In an instant, the extremely ferocious Sea Kings became extremely docile. Floating on the sea obediently there. HMPH, I will definitely win next time. Yamato pouted, speaking a little unconvinced. In terms of shooting, she really doesn't have any outstanding talent, far inferior to Prim. But immediately the whole person changed at a speed visible to the naked eye, and turned into an incomparably ferocious human and animal form. Grab a parasitic phone bug and step on the cloud of flames that keep pouring out. He rushed to the other side of the Sea Kings, who had not moved because of Prim's order. The extremely sharp nails grabbed it rudely. A hole was opened directly from its head. Put that special parasitic phone bug in. Obviously, over time, she has become more and more proficient at grasping the ability of the artificial phantom beast developed by using her lousy Kaido of the beast's gene. It's our time. Garrett on the side couldn't wait to take the ball launcher in Prim's hand, and said to Hancock excitedly, Hancock, Let's see who is more powerful. It is good. In the luxurious leisure pavilion of the Ark. Look at these little girls, playing happily there. Custard, who was sitting there holding his cheeks, showed a smile. It really doesn't grow up. In the calm belt a few days ago, the Sea King's army that filled the sea area within sight really shocked them. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who would have imagined that that girl Prim could control such a huge Sea King's army without making a sound? This is a real one-man army. You only need to hide in the rear, and you can order those Sea Kings and beasts to charge for them without risking their lives. But with Wei's help, she is only a 20-year-old girl with a 10-year-old mind and an innocent little girl with an unprecedentedly large Sea King's army. Isn't this pretty good? Passing a cup of fresh juice squeezed out by using Paramisha's ability to squeeze fruit, Sneyman smiled and said, although the appearance has become more mature than ours, after all, the mind will not. It's growing up all of a sudden. All of this is because someone shielded them from the wind and rain in front. Armand looked at the training ground. The wit number 1, who holds the ability of Paramisha weight fruit and directly transforms into 1,000-ton épée, bears the ability of Paramisha weight fruit, which directly adds 50 times the weight to its body wit no 2 inches weight bracelet, and the figure training there sweating like rain. I am a little moved. Although they also train unremittingly, they can't work as hard as Wilhelm for a long time. As the well-known cultivator of the Charlotte family, it's not just talk. Relying on that monster-like physique and strong resilience, if Wilhelm really didn't care about it, he started to cultivate. A day of practice can even exceed 18 hours. Deducting the time for eating, resting, etc., as a natural monster, if he enters a deep sleep, it only takes 4 hours to become alive and well. However, it's time to arrive. Looking at the growing black spot in front of him, Strong said with a light smile. What? Come on. Wilhelm big brother, Sister Armand. What is that? It's a goldfish. At this time, Yamato, Hancock, Garrett, Prim and the others who were making a fuss there screamed. A shocking and inexplicable aura made Armand, Custard and the others all stand up, and their faces changed inexplicably. Busily ran to the direction of the stern of the ship. All of them couldn't help shrinking their pupils and opening their mouths wide. Hiss. It's too big. Is there such a big goldfish? The legendary bird eater? Flying too low, it stared at us. They all broke out in a cold sweat. It's not because of fear or anything, it's just that the huge monster emerging from the sea below is too exaggerated. It looks like a beautiful goldfish, but that jaw-dropping figure is comparable to a small island. For those huge super-large creatures, one can't help feeling awe. This is a biological instinct. Swipe. At this moment, Wilhelm was holding on to the épée that weighed thousands of tons because of his ability to crush fruit by tons, and was constantly waving it. His eyes froze. The huge observation hockey is scanned directly. Thumbs up. Brush. Prim's hands. A dumpling suddenly disappeared. It was accurately thrown into the stomach acid of that huge bird-eating beast. Directly digested by it. I found that the dumpling in my hand disappeared. Prim, who was a little panicked at first, looked at Wilhelm in surprise. Wilhelm big brother. Don't panic. Wielding an épée, his body was extremely heavy, and Wilhelm, who was sweating profusely, did not lift his head. There, he said lightly, Plim, just give it an order. Clatter. On the sea, the huge waves were raging and boiling. A goldfish with a huge size, comparable to a small island. Opening his exaggerated mouth, he rushed straight towards the target in front of him. And in front of it, it is a huge ark, as if it is not affected by gravity, floating there out of thin air. Stop there and don't move, although a little confused. But out of trust in Wilhelm, Prim was brave enough to hold a loudspeaker bug, and shouted orders there. Clatter. For a moment, the goldfish suddenly stopped there. Staring at the ark in front of her with wide eyes, she felt a little cute, for no reason. Huh. It worked. Prim jumped up and happily asked Wilhelm on the training ground. Wilhelm big brother, did you use your ability to transfer the ball into its body? Shaking off his sweat, Wilhelm gestured to the anthropomorphic homie's épée to reduce his own weight. Wit, reduce it to 1 ton. Yes, Master Wilhelm. A ton, Wit one was singing happily there. Activated the ability of Paramisha ton squeeze fruit. Brush. In a split second, Wilhelm only felt that the right hand holding homie's épée was lightened, and his whole body was extremely relaxed. He walked towards Prim, Armand, Custard, and the others. It's not enough to just transfer it into its body. This guy is too big. There is a small island in its stomach. If you just feed it dumplings, it may not be effective in a short time. Sneyman couldn't believe it. It's unbelievable, such a huge giant sea kings. If you say you can subdue it, you will subdue it. Armand puffed out the smoke lightly, feeling deeply. What an exaggerated ability. There are some treasures in its stomach. If you are bored, you can take an adventure and explore it, Wilhelm said directly to several people. His huge observation hockey had already scanned this giant island-eating beast thoroughly at the first time, and had a clear picture of what's inside its stomach. But the riddle was not solved. Instead, leave it to Custard, Yamato, and Hancock to explore. I don't want to directly deprive them of the fun of adventure. Huh? Treasure? Great, I'm going. I also need to go. For a while. Yamato, Prim, Garrett, and Hancock are already impatient. Even Armand, Custard, Sneyman and the others couldn't help but their eyes lit up, and they became very interested. Yamato, install it first. Prim handed a parasitic phone bug to Yamato. Okay, leave it to me. Yamato directly transformed into a human beast form. Pink dragon scales covered her whole body. Dragging its long dragon tail, stepping on the continuously gushing flame cloud, it ran towards the giant goldfish excitedly. Soon the special parasitic phone bug was installed on its head. Custard asked, Wilhelm, are you going? Wilhelm shrugged and said meaningfully, I won't go, you just bring what you should bring back. Oh? It's really curious. It looks like there should be something good inside. Strong, Sneyman and other women couldn't help raising their eyebrows, a little curious. But neither thought of asking. Wilhelm's exaggerated observation hockey is simply too powerful. Nothing can hide from him. If they asked everything directly, it would be meaningless. Instead, the fun of adventure is lost. Open your mouth and don't move, let's go in. A group of people are busy. From the Ark proverbs above. A steamboat about 10 meters long was put down. Armand, Custard, Hancock and the others jumped onto it one after another. Taking a steamboat, broke into the giant mouth of the goldfish. A little devil with no power to restrain a chicken, actually has such a rare thing in his hand. Watching them rushing into the body of the bird-eating beast, Wilhelm smiled. It's really surprising. And 10 minutes later, inside the stomach of a giant goldfish. On the golden acid sea, a small island with lush vegetation lies there. Yamato, Hancock, Garrett, Prim, Armand and others jumped onto the island one after another. But Custard's powerful observation hockey detected the anomaly almost instantly. Custard's eyes froze, and his eyes focused on the boulder that collapsed there. Who is it? Someone? An imp? A group of people looked at it in surprise. A little timidly, hiding his hands behind his back. A figure walking cautiously from behind the stone. She is a bit tall and thin, with an immature face, and looks about 10 years old. She is unkempt, with a wheat-colored complexion, but paler than Prim. She has curly red hair and dirty clothes, unable to conceal her figure that has begun to grow. She was still a little pale and anxious at first. After seeing the leaders Custard and Armand, their eyes couldn't help but brighten up. Are you the Big Mom Pirates? It seems that you know us. Armand said coolly with a cigarette in his mouth. Of course, I went out to sea just to find young master trembling. The little girl ran over and said excitedly, my name is Bakara, and I'm his fan. Are you looking for Wilhelm Big Brother? Prim was a little surprised. I've read the Shi Jing Bao, and think that if Master Wilhelm is a pirate, he should be interested in the treasure. If he uses it as a gift, he will definitely take me in. Bakala took out a devil fruit like offering a treasure. There is also a dilapidated Shi Jing Bao, with Wilhelm's photo on the headline. Some dejectedly said, this is the devil fruit I stole from the pirates. I originally wanted to go to New World to dedicate it to Lord Wilhelm, but the good luck that I have always been able to get what I want every time seems to have suddenly expired. I managed to get on a ship of a group of pirates, and wanted to go to the legendary New World to meet Master Wilhelm, but was swallowed by a huge goldfish in the sea. When she said this, her big eyes were full of expectation, and she looked eagerly at Armand, Custard and the others. There is a big treasure on this island. I can take you to find it, and you can send me to see Wilhelm, Your Excellency. Sneyman. Karstad. A group of people looked at each other, a little speechless. After a few hours, the steamboat sailed out of the goldfish's mouth. Armand, Custard, Sneyman, Prim, Hancock, Yamato and the others are all rewarding. The boat is full of treasures, jewels, and dazzling. And a tall, unkempt little girl of about 10 years old. A group of people. I just feel a blur in front of my eyes. Even the people in the boat were all transferred to the Ark proverbs by Wilhelm. It seems that you have gained a lot. Wilhelm, who rarely stopped training and rested there for a while, said with a smile. Wilhelm, Big Brother, adult. The harvest is indeed great. You already knew that, didn't you? Tisk tisk. I didn't expect that there is actually a little fan of yours. Yamato, Yasho, Hancock, Armand, Prim, Garrett, Castard, Sneyman, Strong, and the others spoke there one after another. And Bakula looked at Wilhelm in front of him full of stars. Full of excitement, almost speechless with excitement. Master Wilhelm. Bakula stepped forward and said excitedly, "Hello, I am Bakara, and I am your fan." Her small gloved hand held the devil fruit and sent it to Wilhelm. "This is my gift, please accept it." "I see your heart." Wilhelm touched her little head. "Where's the family?" "They were all killed by pirates, I am an orphan." Bakula was afraid that Wilhelm would not believe it, so she said pitifully, "Since I ate the devil fruit, except my own luck has improved, people in the village will be unlucky when they meet me, and there are a few perverts who want to plot against me." The old man either fell to death, choked on phlegm, or was burned to death. Everyone in the village thought I was a disaster and wanted to burn me to death, but then I ran out. Originally relying on her own ability, she wandered aimlessly on the sea. One day, I saw Wilhelm's wanted warrant, and I was completely attracted by this cool and handsome, thrilling nobleman. I think my ability should be useful to the Big Mom pirates. So, I secretly boarded a pirate ship, thinking of going to New World to join the other party. As a result, he picked up a devil fruit on the way, and he wanted to meet this Mr. Wilhelm as soon as possible and dedicate the devil fruit to him. Then, when passing through the nearby waters, the entire pirate ship was swallowed by the Food Island goldfish. With her quirky abilities, she absorbs the luck of those pirates. So those pirates were unlucky and died in various weird ways. She was the only one who survived in the belly of the island-eating beast. Armand, Castard and other women looked at Baccarat curiously. Is it the fruit of bad luck, or the fruit of bad luck? No, it's Paramecia lucky fruit. It's unreasonable. It can absorb other people's luck for its own use. If there is no accident, everyone who is touched by her will be taken away by it. Wilhelm said directly. As he said that, he looked at Bakula and said with a light smile, "Then follow me from now on." Really? Bakula is full of surprises. Gently pinching her face, Wilhelm spoke softly and said with a smile, "Of course, but your ability is a bit dangerous, you must wear gloves at ordinary times, and don't touch your companions casually." Understood. Thank you, Lord Wilhelm. No, I have to thank you. Wilhelm tossed the devil fruit that Bakula just gave him. This gift is not light. Bird fruit phantom beast species new form. His huge observation hockey had recognized this ability from the very beginning when it scanned the belly of the island eater. It is the ability of the phantom beast that he wants to find. Nu is said to be a legendary creature. It has the appearance of an ape, the body of a raccoon dog, the limbs of a tiger and the tail of a snake. It has no wings, but it can fly directly. As for the ability of this phantom beast new form, what kind of ability it has still needs to be verified. I don't know if it's because Bakara, a female fan with the ability of Paramecia lucky fruit, has a wish in her heart to pray that everything she does, the trembling nobleman, will come true. All in all, his luck has been inexplicably good in recent days. In the past few days, New World is said to have found another Paramecia-type devil fruit. Although the quality is not high, but better than nothing. Phantom beast? Really? Armand, Sneyman, Castard and the others couldn't help shrinking their pupils. Some couldn't believe it, looking at the devil fruit in Wilhelm's hand, and then at Bakula. This girl must be very lucky, right? Is Paramecia lucky fruit really that powerful? Hancock, take Bakula down to wash up and change her into clean clothes. Yes, Master Wilhelm. Glancing at the grimy Bakula, Hancock nodded. And Karstad and other women. They all began to move those treasures. This time, they gained too much. That island not only has treasures left by a famous pirate from a certain era, but also treasures left by ships that have been swallowed for hundreds of years. Conservative estimates, more than 5 billion Baileys. Enough to make countless pirates on the sea jealous and crazy. Not to mention, I also harvested a little girl with the ability of Paramecia lucky fruit, and a devil fruit with the ability of the phantom beast Nay form. Go ahead. And this time, filled with joy, Prim gave the giant island eater an order. Such a huge island eater, even if has conquered countless sea kings, it still gives her a sense of accomplishment. However, it is impossible to expect such a huge island-eating goldfish to find devil fruit which is pitifully small compared to its size. It can only serve as a deterrent force. Roar. Shadao goldfish roared. It set off a huge wave and slowly sank into the bottom of the sea. Huh. I was about to follow Bakula and watched this scene, a little shocked and inexplicable. No one expected that Prim would be able to command such a huge bird-eating beast. With his right hand on her shoulder, Yamato, who didn't reject Bakula at all, introduced it with a smile. Don't be surprised, Prim is a Paramecia Dwanzi fruit-capable user, and can tame any beasts and sea kings. Is that so? Clatter. The huge island-eating beast disappeared. The ark continued to move forward, and there was a small island in front of it. Pointing to the growing, black dot ahead, Sneyman said with a smile, "Prehistoric island is coming soon." Is that little garden, over there? It's unimaginable that the two leaders of the former giant soldier pirates have been dueling there for decades. Blue Ogre versus Red Ogre. Armand, Custard and others said there one after another. It didn't take long for Hancock to come out with a brand new baccarat washed off the dirt. The floral dress, left over from before Hancock was ripened, fit the little girl just right. A sweet-looking little loli with wheat-colored skin and long curly red hair. But this time, Wilhelm didn't intend to use his ability to ripen fruit to directly ripen her like Yamato, Hancock, and Garrett. Because at present, there is no shortage of combat power. Baccarat's own strength does not affect the ability of that lucky fruit. It is also possible to play and develop occasionally. Master Wilhelm. Baccarat ran over happily. She looked at Wilhelm, who was so handsome that she couldn't take her eyes off, her eyes full of admiration and admiration. Well, it's much more energetic than the little beggar just now. Touching Bacala's little head, Wilhelm said with a light smile, "From now on, you can practice with Hancock and the others." Bacala clenched her small fists, full of excitement. "Yes, I will work hard. Everyone, I'm Bacala. Please give me more advice in the future." She looked at Armand, Hancock and others, and bowed earnestly there. Said, winking playfully, "Great, I have another companion." Yamato rolled his big eyes, and said happily, "Lucky fruit, it sounds very interesting." She pulled Baccarat and asked in a low voice, "Baccarat, can you really make people's wishes come true? You girl, don't you want to use Bacala's ability?" Armand stared at Yamato and broke her mind. Over the past few days of observation, she has gradually discovered a secret. This girl is completely insulated from the word gambling. Although relying on that strong physical fitness and the ability of that phantom beast, Yamato's strength is currently the strongest among the ripened little ghosts such as Hancock, Garrett, and Prim. But except for sparring, no matter what game she played with Prim, Hancock, and Garrett, she never won even once. In the shooting game that Prim, Hancock and the others played before, Yamato lost the worst. "I have fished sea kings dozens of times, and even Hancock and Garrett can occasionally hit the ball launcher and send the ball into the mouth of sea kings, but she failed once." "What? Despicable, Yamato. Damn, so you are like this." Hancock, Prim, and Garrett glared at her. "Ah, the weather is really nice." Looking at the blue sky, Yamato scratched his head, pretending to be stupid. That look of sideways glances completely betrayed her. "You guys, stop making trouble." Knocking on Yamato's head, Karstad said, "We've arrived." Is that prehistoric island? What will the leader of the Titan clan look like? Whether it's Bacala who just joined, or Yamato, Hancock, Garrett, Prim and the others. They all ran to the bow of the ship full of curiosity, where they looked at the little garden, which was less than a few hundred meters away and could see the whole picture from a distance. Kawawawa, quack quack quack, island side. The two Titans were more than 20 meters tall, and even among the Titans whose adult warriors were generally more than 12 meters tall, they were quite tall Titans. They were already standing there with their arms folded, waiting. Like two huge sculptures, it is daunting. Wilhelm. Blue Ogre laughed there and said, "Quack quack quack, my dear friends, you are here." He is a completely different person now than he was a few months ago. I don't know when he has shaved off that incomparably long beard, and only has a short beard. The tall body coupled with the extremely strong, exaggerated muscles with sharp edges and corners is full of indescribable majesty and gives people a great sense of oppression. As for Red Ogre, Brogy next to him, apart from a bruised nose and swollen face, there were no obvious changes. But invisibly, Blue Ogre has been the main one. "I haven't seen you for a few months, and you have already decided the winner?" The huge ark lay across the coast. Looking at Blue Ogre and Red Ogre, Wilhelm asked with a smile. In fact, he can feel that the terrifying aura of Blue Ogre is much better than that of Red Ogre. Undoubtedly, the two leaders of the giant soldiers pirates, who used to be evenly matched in strength, have distanced themselves. The wisdom and savvy endowed by the fruit of everyone has given Love Ghost a radical change. The two of them are no longer neck and neck, but one king and one general. Wow, there's no way. Red Ogre, Brogy said with a nonchalant smile. This guy got the legendary devil fruit, which is said to be Paramecia brain fruit. It seems that his brain has been opened up. Whether it is combat skills or hockey, he has improved by leaps and bounds, surpassing the me. Now Dory, Albuff's well-deserved first battle. As the two decide the outcome. And, Blue Ogre, has no intention of killing him, and even plans to ask him to go out to sea again for adventure. Red Ogre, Brogy, has been completely overwhelmed by the opponent's broad mind and strong strength. Although Blue Ogre doesn't mind, he has already made up his mind that when he returns to Albuff, he will gather people to revive the former giant soldier pirate group, and he will step down as the leader. No longer the leader of the giant soldier pirates. At most, he can only be a deputy leader or an ordinary combatant. Before leaving the island, he was ready to challenge Blue Ogre constantly. But the result is not surprising, and it often ends in failure. Red Ogre's unhealed wound on his face and Blue Ogre's unscathed appearance are the best proof. Quack quack quack. Kawawawa, on the prehistoric island. In front of the huge skull cave, a banquet is going on there. The two hospitable titans hunted several large beasts. There entertained Wilhelm, Armand, Sneyman, Custard and others. And Wilhelm also directly took out the fine wine stored on the Ark Proverbs. Master Blue Ogre, Master Red Ogre, you are so tall. Baccarat raised her head there, looking at Blue Ogre and Red Ogre sitting there like mountains, like a hill. Yamato on the side crossed his hips and said proudly, after I transform, I am not bigger than them. Hee hee. Her, dragon fruit phantom beast species dragon form, ability is the same as that hateful old man Kaido of the beasts, which can transform into a legendary dragon. The size is huge and exaggerated, and it is more than 100 meters long. Yes. Blue Ogre looked at the triumphant Yamato, and praised there. That little girl, you are also a very powerful guy. However, a big body does not mean strong strength. It is best not to use a full body to fight a powerful enemy lightly. He seriously warned there. Unless you can cultivate your mind, body, and skills to the ultimate level, and make up for your own shortcomings perfectly, otherwise, in the face of the real strong, a big body means that you will be able to bear the force. Wide, it is easier to be attacked, to some extent, it is a very fatal flaw. This is him these days. According to one's own defects and weaknesses, carefully summarize the experience. Although he has a titan body, although he possesses great strength, he is also constrained by that too huge and bulky body. As far as the current speed is concerned, he is far from keeping up with that strength. I think that if you want to make up for your own shortcomings, you can only cultivate yourself to the ultimate state of perfection with both physical skills and physical skills if you put in more effort and blood and sweat. Is that so? Yamato scratched his head. Seems to understand but not understands, thoughtful. Wilhelm Big Brother also warned her so seriously. Although the incarnation of a dragon can bring an unparalleled sense of oppression to the enemy, it can even directly deter some guys who have little strength or are not strong enough in heart. But when fighting against a powerful and strong-willed enemy, it is best to fight the enemy in human form or human beast form. The two shocking X-shaped scars on the abdomen of her father, Kaido of the beasts, are said to be due to the transformation into a complete beast form, but Kazuki Oden used the power of conquerors to slash too carelessly, leaving permanent scars. If you stay in the strongest human beast form from the very beginning and stand ready for battle. Even if it's hard to say the final outcome, at least it won't be unstoppable for Kazuki Oden's blow. In short, since this guy Dory got the devil fruit ability, his strength has improved by leaps and bounds. I can't keep up with him anymore. Red Ogre Brogy said with a big smile. But obviously, in his heart, there was still a little reconciliation. After all, since childhood, the two have competed together, and their strengths are similar. Suddenly being surpassed by a small partner is unavoidable. Paramecia brain fruit. Listen to the introduction of Blue Ogre and Brogy. Wilhelm looked at Blue Ogre and said with a smile, although it can't directly enhance the combat power, it can develop the brain invisibly, and if it can improve people's talent and understanding in a disguised form. No wonder you can do it so easily, Dory. Defeat Brogy, whose strength is almost the same as yours in the past. Quack quack quack, it's just luck. Blue Ogre scratched his head and laughed. On the other hand, the two sisters, Strawn and Sneyman, who knew about it and witnessed the birth process of Blue Ogre, with their own eyes, the corners of their mouths twitched slightly, a little speechless. Where is Paramecia brain fruit, fundamentally is zone everyone fruit. So, are you ready to go to sea? Holding the wooden barrel cup full of liquor, he brought the two titans Blue Ogre and Red Ogre over, touched the ridiculously exaggerated wine barrel, and drank a glass, Wilhelm asked. Originally, his plan was to allow Blue Ogre to settle on this island for 2 or 3 years. But the plan can't keep up with the changes. The Big Mom pirates are developing rapidly, and Blue Ogre's strength has also exceeded his expectations. There is no need for him to continue wasting time on this island. There is nothing that can sharpen a person more fully than the sea. Kawawa. Dory has decided to go back to Albuff to gather his partners, regroup, and revive the giant pirates, Brogy said. Blue Ogre nodded directly. Quack quack quack, we have been logging recently and are preparing to build a ship. Because, Red Ogre, Brogy was there. He couldn't be too respectful to Lord Wilhelm. Ah, the giant pirates that shocked the world in the past, are they finally going to be resurrected? Sneyman on the side smiled and said, it's really exciting. In that case, I do know some information about the members of your giant soldiers pirates. Wilhelm shrugged. He didn't make a fuss, and said directly there, a few days ago, I just received news that more than 30 years ago, 2 members of the giant soldier pirates went out to sea to find the whereabouts of the 2 of you, but they were arrested by the world government up. What? Caught by the world government? Blue Ogre and Red Ogre were stunned for a moment, a little shocked and inexplicable. Brogy was even more shocked and angry, damn world government. Looks like Oimo and Guy West. Oimo, Guy West. Blue Ogre said helplessly. Then it can't be wrong, it should be the 2 of them. Wilhelm didn't hide anything. The world government lied that you 2 leaders of the giant soldier pirates had been captured by them, and they forced them to serve the world government in Eni's lobby for 100 years on the condition that they let you go. Currently, the 2 of them are guarding the gate at Eni's lobby. Now that Blue Ogre and Red Ogre are going to come out to revive the giant soldier pirates, it is natural to prepare a grand stage. Moreover, if he doesn't take the opportunity to kill the father and son of Spandine and Spandam, then how can he let Stussy insert Rob Lucci inside CP9? After all, Rob Lucci of the undercover Big Mom Pirates had to evacuate early despite his identity being exposed. But overall, the mission wasn't a complete failure. At the very least, the spies got to know the abilities of his tremendous gentleman, and some information about the Big Mom Pirates. This kind of credit is highly recommended by Stussy. Even if you are younger, as long as you show good ability to the top of the world government. Presumably there should be a chance to compete for the position of CP9 chief. At that time, you only need to take advantage of the trend to clear some obstacles that stand in the way. Damn world government, those 2 idiots Oimo and Casey. Red Ogre's veins were throbbing, and he was so angry that he wanted to go to the world government to settle accounts immediately. Such a clumsy lie, to be so foolish as to believe it. Blue Ogre covered his face, a little speechless. Based on his understanding of the Titan family, combined with the memory inherited from Dory in his mind. Those 2 are in the same strain as the honest Titans, and the one-minded idiots really did it. Maybe they were cheated and foolishly helped count the money. Abominable. World government is so despicable. Shameless, those guys. For a while. Except for the mature female pirates such as Armand, Snarman, Castard, Miss Olive, etc. Although they were a little surprised, they were already accustomed to such intrigues and remained indifferent. Yamato, Hancock, Prim, Garrett and other little girls with mental defects are all filled with righteous indignation and anger. Quack quack quack. Eni's lobby. At this time, Blue Ogre laughed boldly. It looks like, before returning to New World, I'm going to go there. You're going to raid the Eni's lobby? Armand raised his eyebrows, exhaled smoke and said, it is one of the 3 major institutions under the world government, and it has a special geographical location. It is at the corner of each other with naval headquarters and the deep sea prison. There is a huge vortex current in the middle of them. It can pass through the legendary Gate of Justice and quickly reach the other 2 places through the huge current. If there is a slight change, naval headquarters will not sit idly by. Kawawa, we can't let ourselves go. Red Ogre, Brogy, who didn't care at all, laughed. Besides, I have also read the recent reports. Due to the defeat of the expedition fleet, the sea situation is unprecedentedly turbulent. The marine side is busy suppressing the pirates who are making trouble everywhere. I am afraid that they are already very busy. Blue Ogre said directly. Even if it's naval headquarters, I'm afraid the troops are too empty. Of course he wouldn't be that stupid. Silly in Eni's lobby, world government and marine. After rescuing Oimo and Geysi, the 2 giant soldier pirates, all it takes is a few shots of Albuff's gun to destroy the place. And based on his judgment on the current sea situation, at that time, it is still a matter of whether Marine can send any decent reinforcements to Eni's lobby. Anyway, first must teach Marine and those guys from the world government a profound lesson this time. Blue Ogre clenched his fists and said loudly, let the whole world know that I am a giant soldier. Pirates will be killed no matter how far away they are. Maybe it's really good. Hearing this, Brogy, the former leader of the giant pirates, couldn't help feeling a little excited. Dory's words almost touched his heart. I can't wait to enter the Eni's lobby immediately and announce to the sea the resurrection of their giant pirates. In that case, please accept this devil fruit. Wilhelm hooked his finger. In his hand, there was a strange mango-shaped fruit with a pitch-black body. Handed it to Red Ogre, Brogy. I'm doing my best for you two friends of the Titan race. Devil fruit? Both Blue Ogre and Red Ogre were inexplicably surprised. Especially Red Ogre couldn't help but shrink his pupils, a little unbelievable. He has personally witnessed the improvement of the strength of the legendary secret treasure of the sea. Dory has changed so much, and it has an inseparable relationship with devil fruit. This is too precious, Wilhelm. Although Brogy was unavoidably moved, he still declined seriously. It's okay. Devil fruit is not so precious to me now, Wilhelm said with a smile. Besides, we are friends, aren't we? There is no need to be so polite. Quack quack quack, Wilhelm is right. You will always be the best friend of our Albaf Titans. Blue Ogre laughed. He looked at Brogy, and said directly, in this case, Brogy, you can accept it. Kawa, then I'll be impolite. Brogy, who is a Titan, is not a coy person, and laughed heartily there. Grabbing the devil fruit that looked extremely small compared to his exaggerated body shape. He got up straight away. There was a violent wind pressure. Almost made Yamato and the others unsteady. Brogy's face became serious, and he knelt there on one knee. With his right fist resting on his chest, with an unprecedented solemn expression, he promised. I swear by the glory of the great Albaf god, if you need help, Wilhelm, I, Brogy, will not hesitate. That's right, for your friend Wilhelm, even if our giant soldier pirates go through fire and water, we will do anything. Blue Ogre was also there to solemnly swear, and said loudly. And Armand, Yasho, Custard and other women couldn't help being shocked when they saw Blue Ogre and Red Ogre swear so solemnly. Did the younger brother, big brother, Sir Wilhelm, gain the friendship of the Al-Electric Power Titan so easily? And already knew, the two sisters Strong and Sneyman were all smiling. Wilhelm is like boiling a frog in warm water. With the friendship of these two leaders of the giant soldiers pirates. Is it far from the full allegiance of the resurrected giant soldier pirates under the leadership of Blue Ogre? Quack quack quack, kawawawa. After swearing, the two titans looked at each other and laughed. Immediately afterwards, Red Ogre directly threw the devil fruit into his mouth. I don't know what ability this is. Castid asked curiously there. Both Blue Ogre and Red Ogre also looked at Wilhelm. Hugging the little lowly Bacala, Wilhelm said with a light smile, bird fruit black eagle form, rare flying ability, in this case, Dory, Brogy, you two partners will be invincible. Kawawawa, can you transform into a huge black eagle? Brogy laughed and said, indeed, with Dory's current strength, he is already able to use Albuf's spear alone. As a capable person, he has the weakness of being afraid of seawater. As his arm, the bird fruit is the most suitable for me. But that's all. Thank you, Wilhelm, this is really a great ability. Looking at Wilhelm in front of him, the former leader of the giant soldier pirates sincerely thanked him. As he spoke, he raised the barrel and toasted Wilhelm. Don't say that among friends. Cheers. Wilhelm smiled lightly. Holding a wooden barrel cup, all comers are welcome. If it wasn't for the Paramecia shrinking fruit, which would be left to his brother, or sister, who has the blood of the ancient Titan race in the future, he would directly shrink the fruit that can make the capable person himself or even touch any target the ability, given to Brogy. After all, as the high-level ability of Paramecia mini fruit, Paramecia shrink fruit is indeed too powerful, and he doesn't want to waste it. Quack 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 quack. In this way, when fighting with people on the sea, you won't be afraid of being targeted by pirate ships, losing your footing and falling into the sea. Blue Ogre said happily. He knew very well that Wilhelm considered his everyone's fruit ability to hide. Apart from acquiring extraordinary wisdom and comprehension, he has no other abilities at all. Instead, he has a weakness of fear of seawater. The ability of this bird fruit black eagle form was specially given to Brogy. Come on, let's drink to our friendship. Cheers. Cheers to the revival of the giant pirates. Cheers. Dark night. A huge arc, across the choppy coast. On the third floor, in a spacious and luxurious room. Wilhelm, who was leaning on the sofa, was in contact with Stussy who was far away in the new world. And his personal maid, Mies Olive held the phone bug there, suppressing her voice as much as possible. That's about it. Telling his plan, Wilhelm asked Stussy, if you get rid of Spandine and his son and get rid of this obstacle, can you push Lu Chi to the throne of the highest officer of CP9? Little Wilhelm, I'm afraid it's a bit difficult. Stussy on the other end of the phone bug said helplessly, although his task, this time is not considered a failure, on the contrary, he still has a lot of credit, but even if he looks like an adult, he is too young after all, and it is difficult for the high-level believe in his abilities. Besides, there are still a few guys with considerable qualifications in CP9. Even if the government doesn't plan to parachute a person down, the current Lu Chi can't surpass them. Speaking of which, listening to the faint sound coming from the phone bug, there are some inaudible, almost crying movements. Stussy licked his lips lightly, and asked with a smile, little Wilhelm, what are you doing? You can guess. Glancing at Mies Olive, who was biting his lip and inevitably making a sound after all, Wilhelm said calmly, then, we can only take the next best thing and support a puppet as a substitute. He. So little Wilhelm, you still like this. As the queen of Happy Street, Stussy, who is no stranger to these natures, gave a knowing chuckle. Not entangled in that aspect, she smiled and suggested there. I think we can consider letting Spandam's son Spandam take the position. He is a cowardly and incompetent guy who is greedy for power. Before Lu Chi grows up, let him staying in that position for a few years is much better than changing to a capable guy, and with the suppression of my CPO, he can't make any waves. Before that, we just need to remove other disobedient obstacles standing in front of Lu Chi. She knew very well from the very beginning that a perfect man like Wilhelm was destined not to belong to her only woman. What Stussy can do is to maximize his own value, contribute as much as possible, and become an indispensable part of Wilhelm's ambitious, huge and grand blueprint. Even the final outcome may be moths to the flame. But as long as it can leave a little bit of shadow in this man's heart. She also has no regrets. This impeccable little man has such a great charm. Let her give willingly, give everything, and don't ask for anything in return. So be it. He pondered for a moment. Wilhelm nodded. With a smile in his eyes, he signaled that Mies Olive, the personal maid, need not worry any more. Thank you, Stussy aunt. Have a good time, little Wilhelm. With a touch of indescribable playfulness, Stussy, whose voice seemed to be full of endless temptation, chuckled lightly. I really want to see you soon, he. I miss you too, Stussy aunt. Click. Nothing to say all night. Wait until the next morning. Wilhelm was full of energy when he woke up for morning exercises. With dark circles under his eyes and a little tired custard, Yuan also got up early. But directly with that weird gaze, with a little unspeakable resentment, looking at him quietly there. What's wrong? Sister Custard. With a calm face, Wilhelm asked with a chuckle, did you not sleep well last night? Damn brother Wilhelm, you did it on purpose. Custard's baby face puffed up, and there he glared at Wilhelm angrily. She blushed and said angrily, you too, can't you keep your voice down? Someone is comfortable, but she who sleeps in the next room is miserable. How is it possible to sleep? This, you have to tell Olive, it's none of my business. Wilhelm flatly denies it. Humph, she turned her head angrily. Don't pay any attention to this bad brother. He is so bad, why didn't he find out before? Wait. Wilhelm stepped forward suddenly. It made Custard back subconsciously, almost hitting the wooden board of the cabin. Looking at the unbelievably handsome Wilhelm who is close at hand. The sixth daughter of the Charlotte family couldn't help but blush. I dare not look directly at those eyes that are so sharp that they seem to be able to see through the soul. Some stammered. Brother Wilhelm, you. What are you doing? Is there anything else? I have to go to practice. Ever since seeing Wilhelm easily beat his own brother Cracker a few years ago. Under the invisible influence of Wilhelm, she is also an extremely hard-working member of the Charlotte family. Desperately trying to improve himself, just to catch up in the footsteps of Wilhelm's younger brother. Sister Karstad. A Waldong. Looking down at Custard, who was blushing cutely. On Wilhelm's handsome face, the horns were raised slightly, and there was a playful smile. Gently bowing his head to his ear, the voice full of magnetism can almost make countless women intoxicated, just like the whisper of an abyss demon. Why don't I go to your room tonight? Okay. What? How can it be? Absolutely not. Custard's heart trembled violently. Subconsciously, he was about to nod, but suddenly he came to his senses and was busy shaking his head like a rattle. The baby's face, which was as red as an apple, was so hot that it was almost about to burst into smoke. What are you thinking? Sister Custard. Lightly tapped on Custard's smooth forehead, Wilhelm blinked in confusion, and asked innocently. I mean, go to your room to play poker with Sister Armand and Sister Yasho. After all, I've been too busy these days, so it's time to get in touch and relax. What? Custard's eyes widened. Looking at the serious Wilhelm, did she misunderstand herself? For a moment, his complexion flushed red, and he almost fainted from embarrassment. But soon, she caught the playfulness in Wilhelm's eyes. Custard, who is already smart, doesn't understand what. Bastard brother, don't dare to be his sister. She was so angry that her almond eyes stood up, feeling ashamed and annoyed. She has always been very dignified and reserved, with her delicate and neat silver teeth open. She couldn't help but rush towards Wilhelm viciously. "I'll bite you to death." Long, accompanied by the undulating sound of the waves. Wilhelm's gentle gaze was fixed on those jewel-like eyes that seemed to be overflowing with water. "Sister Karstad." The corner of the mouth slightly raised, outlining a breathtaking arc. At least, the rosy-faced castard couldn't resist it at all. I only felt that Fang's heart trembled fiercely and fell deeply. Unable to restrain himself, he closed his eyes. "Take your pick, Brother Wilhelm." The sun rises in the east and is extremely red. Rays of golden sunlight streaked down from the sky. Shining on the sparkling sea, it is so gorgeous and beautiful. Custard only felt that he was having a dream. A long, embarrassing, unspeakable dream. When she recovered from that intoxicating dream that she didn't want to wake up from. The ark was empty. As for Wilhelm, the early has disappeared. There was a whistling sound from the coast in the distance. That incomparably strong and perfectly proportioned figure suddenly closed his eyes. Concentrating on it, sweating like rain, exercising. Is it a dream? Custard felt lost. Reminiscing about the scene that made her feel deeply ashamed, but like a beautiful and deadly asphalt flower, she was unknowingly stuck in it, unable to extricate herself. Subconsciously thought it was just a dream. Because, such a dream, Custard had privately had it many times. Although this time the dream always feels a bit inexplicable. Looking at the distant coast, the impeccable figure of Yingwei. Shaking his head violently, the baby's face flushed red. Karstad was ashamed and dejected. What am I thinking? That was her dearest, most beloved brother. Always will be. She lowered her head in a daze, looking at her stalwart. But why? Is there some pain there? Is it heartache? Doesn't man have only one heart? But why both sides? Okay. Too late to think so much. She picked up her mood and prepared to practice. As soon as I took a step, I felt something was wrong. The muddy unnaturalness made Custard look down subconsciously, and his beautiful baby face was as red as an apple. I heard slight movements gradually coming from upstairs in the ark. She hurriedly jumped, stepped directly on the moonwalk, and headed for her room on the 3rd floor. Fortunately, Sister Armand and Sneyman haven't come out yet, otherwise it will be a big embarrassment. On the coast. It was constantly waving the anthropomorphic facial makeup, at least thousands of tons in weight, and the outrageously exaggerated homie's wit number 1. Due to the weight of the wristband wit number 2 on his right wrist, he has been subjected to a 10-fold increase in all directions, which is equivalent to tens of times the force of gravity on his body. The muscles all over his body were tense, and Wilhelm seemed to feel something. The corners of her mouth twitched, and she chuckled lightly. My silly sister, she is so silly and cute. He ignored it. Listening to the ebb and flow of the waves, concentrate on practicing. Realize the insignificant wealth difference every time you swing your sword. Try to grasp every bit of your own strength as much as possible, and use it 100% on the blade. Don't let them go to waste. Quack quack quack. A tall figure came running from the island. Startled countless birds and beasts, making them jump to understand in a hurry. The whole island became extremely noisy. Master Wilhelm, you really worked hard. Looking at the sweaty Wilhelm, Blue Ogre marveled there. In fact, he also got up early, and has been practicing silently on the other side of his residence, exercising his body. I don't want to make too much noise, so as not to disturb the lucid dreams of Wilhelm and others. Never thought that this adult would work so hard. 6 styles, how many styles have you mastered? Asked Wilhelm. Relying on my already strong and extremely superior physical fitness, I only master shaving, finger pistol, iron body. Blue Ogre shrugged. Moonwalk has just touched some tricks, but it needs continuous hard work to master. As for Tempest Kick and Paper Arts, they haven't started to practice yet. These months, he has been practicing day and night, desperately. Relying on his extremely high talent and savvy, he has gained a lot. It's not just about mastering a few tricks and 6 moves. Whether it is knowledge color or armed color, these 2 kinds of hockey have been greatly improved. He has already been able to easily defeat Red Ogre Brogy, who was evenly matched with him in the past. He was even able to wield Alboff's spear by himself. It's already pretty good. Wilhelm nodded in satisfaction. He doesn't necessarily want Blue Ogre to become a 6th-style master, but just hopes that the opponent can absorb the essence and profound meaning of the 6th style as much as possible to complement his own shortcomings. Otherwise, as a Titan family, although they have the advantages of strong physique and infinite strength, they are not invulnerable monsters like Big Mom and Kaido of the Beasts after all. Their huge size will only make Blue Ogre a target. Especially for those with special abilities, if you are not careful, you will be tricked. Shaking off the sweat, he took a long breath. Seeing Blue Ogre with empty hands, Wilhelm asked with a smile, "By the way, where is your great sword?" He noticed, whether it was yesterday or today. The giant sword that Blue Ogre usually carries with him is not with him. Quack quack quack, after all, I have been fighting with Brogy on this island for decades, and the giant sword that has not been maintained for a long time has already been a bit overwhelmed, and it was destroyed while practicing Albuff's spear. Blue Ogre said helplessly, "If you don't return to Albuff, I'm afraid it will be difficult to forge such a giant sword. There are a lot of metal ores on this island." Wilhelm chuckled, "I'll get you a new one later." He carries a few transformed leaves given by Tanuki Pato with him. Dr. Hawkins can be easily conjured up, using the ability of the Munch Munch fruit to devour all the volcanic rocks and metal minerals on the island, refining and fusing them into the strongest shaped memory alloy. Helping Blue Ogre and Red Ogre create 2 handy weapons before leaving, it can be said to be a piece of cake. Quack quack quack, that's great, gee. There was a whistle. A majestic exaggerated black shadow that is not as big as Chapter. From the sky in the other direction, it rushed straight at an astonishing speed. A violent wind pressure blew up. "Kawawawa, Dory, now I have the same power as you. Let's duel again." Brogy, who turned into a huge black eagle and extremely ferocious, laughed and said there was no sneak attack. Instead, it hovered high in the sky. Give Blue Ogre plenty of time to prepare and react. Brush. A pair of giant black claws that look like poured steel, with a cold light that makes one's scalp tingle. Grabbed hard towards Blue Ogre. What a lesson, Brogy. Blue Ogre clenched his right fist. Covered with hockey in no time. Suddenly he punched up. "It's impossible for you to beat me." Boom. There was a loud bang. The violent hurricane swept wildly in all directions. Countless flying sand and rocks raged there with the airwaves. On the coast, huge waves are raging. People can't open their eyes and can't look straight. They were all influenced by Wilhelm, and they were already used to getting up early. Yamato, Hancock, Armand, Sneyman and other women who practiced with him were all shocked at this time. Looking at the 2 huge figures from the ark. In a split second, the extremely sharp giant claws are wrapped around hockey. They kept colliding with Blue Ogre's fist prints that were also covered with armed colors. Boom 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 boom. Woo hoo hoo. Clatter. The wind was raging, and the waves were raging. The astonishing airwaves rolled wildly towards the surroundings. The exaggerated collision made people break out in a cold sweat. Once the Titans get the devil fruit ability, it's really an exaggeration. Armand, who lightly snapped his fingers and lit a cigarette for himself, was amazed. He stared at the incomparably ferocious, outrageously large black eagle with a wingspan of more than tens of meters. After all, even if it is easy to be restrained by those who are really strong or people with special abilities because of their huge size and clumsy movements, but that is only relatively speaking. The 4th woman, Yasho, also with a cigarette in his mouth, he stared at the overly huge black eagle that was plunging down towards Blue Ogre from a high altitude. But anyway, that strong body still has great power, not just kidding of. The power of the Titans is not just for fun. What's more, Blue Ogre and Red Ogre are still the outstanding leaders in the Albuff Titan family. The so-called body is clumsy and not flexible enough. It also depends on who you compare with. That tall body, whose speed is not agile compared to strong human beings, is easy to be targeted, and may even be powerless to fight back. That's just because from the very beginning, they were benchmarked against and positioned as the strongest people in the world, so it naturally appears that they are weak now. But actually, in the eyes of members of the Charlotte family like Armand and Yasho, putting aside the tendons of the Titans, the brains that are too straightforward and easy to be deceived, Blue Ogre and Red Ogre, the former leaders of the giant pirates, seem to be surprisingly strong and exaggerated. Ordinary strong men, if they are not quick enough and react a little slower, they may not be able to dodge their fists at all, and they will be mercilessly blasted into meat sauce in the first place. Indeed. Sneyman nodded approvingly. And Yamato, Prim, Garrett, Hancock, Bacala and others. Both eyes could not help but shine, looking at the 2 huge figures fighting there without blinking. Tisk tisk. Didn't this guy stay up all night in order to master his own abilities? On the coast, Wilhelm, who was exercising as usual, was not affected by the fight between the 2 at all. Wilhelm, who didn't even step back, watched the 2 figures constantly colliding there. Gained the wild power endowed by Zone Bird Fruit Black Eagle form, as well as the ability to fly at will. Red Ogre Brogy, who was already astonishingly strong, seemed to be even more powerful. However, compared to Blue Ogre, whether it is hockey, strength, or even skill, it has to be improved to a higher level. Still worse. Woo-hoo-hoo. I saw that Brogy had just slapped Blue Ogre hard. Without hesitation, he flapped his wings and flew high, whipping up a violent wind pressure, and was about to pounce straight down again. Quack quack quack, Brogy, my good brother, let you see the real gap between us. Shave. Blue Ogre laughed. His right fist seemed to be as hard as steel in an instant, and his muscles tensed. Stepping on his feet, he showed the results of his cultivation in the past few months. Boom. The huge force crushed the earth and cracked it. In an instant, that exaggerated body had turned into a black shadow. Armand, Custard and the others felt a blur in front of their eyes, and couldn't help shrinking their pupils, a little surprised. That is it. Such a huge body. Hiss. How did he do it? On the empty ark. Even the sisters Strong and Sneyman, who knew the origin of Blue Ogre well, couldn't believe it. In just a few months, Blue Ogre actually mastered the shaving of the 6 styles, which completely exceeded their expectations. Such an exaggerated and bulky body can have such a frightening speed. It's just unbelievable. For a split second. Lightning fast Blue Ogre. In an instant, it swept into midair and came in front of Brogy. Huh. The violent fist prints rubbed against the atmosphere, as if they were harder than steel. In the blink of an eye, it was before Brogy could react. It hit him hard. Iron Body _Point Hero's gun. Boom. The huge black eagle was caught off guard. It flew out like a cannonball directly. Brogy exited directly from beast form and returned to human form. What? The huge figure vomited blood, with protruding eyes, looking at the terrifying Blue Ogre in disbelief. It blasted straight up to the ground 100 meters away. Boom. The loud noise shook the sky. The earth trembled violently. A large cloud of smoke and dust filled the air. The violent airwave spread out. Can't see what's going on there at all. In the case of using the iron body, it can actually maintain high-speed movement and move freely. Watching this scene, Wilhelm fixed his eyes and laughed lightly. That guy Blue Ogre is really surprising. He is naturally clear about the hero's spear. It is different from the sword skill Waiguo that Charlotte Linlin borrowed from the moves of the Titans Hakoku and simulated. Its number is called Albaf's second spear. It is different from hitting a shockwave with overwhelming force, which can crush and destroy all obstacles in front of it. Even a large and solid military fortress can easily tear apart Zhou Nan's rich country. It is a single target attack, a blow with all the strength of the whole body stored in the fist. It can blast all the powerful enemies that come to them, smashing them to pieces. It was supposed to cover hockey. This blow would be extremely powerful and invincible. But Blue Ogre just wanted to let Brogy recognize the gap between the two, not to kill each other, so he switched to Iron Body, one of the 6 styles. It stands to reason that the Iron Body is to mobilize the blood of the whole body and drum up strength with a lean and exercised body, making it as hard as steel. Flaws are not without, after all, no matter how powerful the defense is, there is a limit. Furthermore, generally speaking, Iron Body cannot be used while moving freely. But obviously, Blue Ogre, who inherited all the inheritance of the former leader of the giant soldier pirates, did not rigidly practice asceticism, but also kept using his brain to think, analyze, and study. Relying on his own wisdom, comprehension, and perseverance, he overcame this shortcoming. In just a few months, even while moving at high speed, he can display this high-level physical skill. With one blow, Red Ogre Brogy, who had transformed into the form of the Black Eagle, was returned to its original form. It's amazing. In a blink of an eye, Blue Ogre's tall body landed steadily. The ground collapsed. Hey hey hey. He raised his mighty arms and clenched his fists. His expression was full of confidence, and he laughed boldly there. Brogy, it's impossible for you to surpass me. And above the ark. Whether it is Yamato or Armand et al. All were shocked. Amazing. The tall body of the Titan family, the exaggerated strength, the collision of fists to flesh. That kind of visual impact brought them shock beyond words. Especially, regarding the strength that Blue Ogre showed before. At present, in the entire Big Mom pirate group, there are not many who dare to attack the hero's gun head-on. As time goes by, as the former leader of the giant soldier pirate group, he has trained an astonishingly terrifying power, and then combined with the wisdom and understanding given by the fruit of the human being. The battle power that broke out really exceeded Wilhelm's expectations and gave him a great surprise. I thought that among all the special life forms he created by using Zone's ability to combine the corpses of those strong men, although the strength of Blue Ogre is not the worst, it should not reach the upper level. But obviously, he still underestimated the potential of every one fruit. The wisdom and savvy endowed by the fruit of everyone may really allow Blue Ogre to use his advantages as a titan to ultimate, and cultivate his own defects to perfection. So as to achieve the ultimate state of mind, body and skill like Sengoku, the former admiral of headquarters Buddha, and become a real monster. It can also be seen from here. Back then, Wilhelm endowed Rob Lucci, the most talented CP9 genius in the world government for hundreds of years, with the ability of the fruit of human beings, phantom beast species, and great enlightenment form. What a correct choice. Ahem. In billowing smoke and dust, the tall and embarrassed figure couldn't help coughing. He staggered up, and walked out from inside with a disheveled face. Kawawawa. What a powerful force, it is indeed you, Dory. Brogy laughed openly. Once again, I lost without any suspense. Even if he obtained the ability of the form of Zone Nyonaguo Black Eagle, he was still far inferior to this fellow titan who was on par with him in the past, but who has already surpassed the dust this morning and is astonishingly strong. With blood spilling from his mouth, he laughed loudly. The giant soldier pirates have a powerful leader like you. I believe this is the god of Al-Buff, blessing us. Came in front of Blue Ogre. He knelt there on one knee, his right fist resting on his chest. The real one lowered his haughty head. By the glory of God Al-Buff, I, Brogy, am willing to be loyal to you forever, Chief. After this defeat, he was no longer unwilling, let alone jealous. On the contrary, I am sincerely happy that this companion can have such a powerful strength, and that the main music pirate group that is about to be resurrected can have a leader who is stronger than ever. Al-Buff's fighters only submit to the truly strong. And now Blue Ogre has undoubtedly gained his approval. He is willing to let him put down the glory and status of being equal in the past, and bow his head to him. From this moment on, the giant pirates will have only one leader. That's Blue Ogre. Dory, my good brother, take good care of your wounds, don't talk so much nonsense. Patting Brogy on the shoulder, Blue Ogre smiled happily. We have to go to sea next time, so those two idiots, Oimo and Guy, should be rescued sooner. Kawawa. After morning exercise, a group of people enjoyed breakfast there. For some reason, Custard, who had changed into a training suit, kept avoiding Wilhelm's gaze, not daring to look directly at his younger brother. And Wilhelm, as if nothing had happened, didn't tease this lovely silly sister anymore. It's surprisingly simple. A bonfire flickered endlessly. Pieces of Sea King's meat are grilled there. Golden oil drops kept falling. The aroma is tangy, fresh and tender. Quack. Midair, a news bird flew by. A coin flew up and was accurately thrown into the money bag hanging around his neck. And the news bird also threw down a newspaper in an unusually humane manner, and then flew into the distance with wings flapping. This is Sneyman, who caught the newspaper, just saw the news on the front page, and his eyes widened immediately. World conscription? What's wrong? Armand, Custard and other women looked over curiously. Looking at Sneyman's expression full of astonishment and disbelief, he was a little surprised and inexplicable. Marine is going to recruit soldiers from all over the world, and it doesn't matter where the heroes come from. Those who have extraordinary strength and pass the selection will be promoted exceptionally. Sneyman took a deep breath and quickly scanned the newspaper in his hand. Facing the questions from Armand, Custard and others, he said in disbelief. That is to say, if you have the strength of Rear Admiral, you will get the rank and treatment of Rear Admiral, and if you have the strength of Vice Admiral, you will get the rank and treatment of Vice Admiral, if you have the strength of Admiral, you will be promoted to Admiral of Naval Headquarters. What? Heroes don't ask where they come from. Is this kind of like what those high-ranking guys of them can say? Is Marine and world government crazy? No, they were driven into a hurry. Yasho, Blue Ogre, Armand, Strong, Brogy, Custard and others present. They couldn't help being shocked. It's unbelievable. Even Wilhelm couldn't help raising his eyebrows. This is actually not beyond his expectation. After all, this time, Marine's loss was too great. The sea situation was unprecedentedly chaotic, almost out of control, much worse than when the era of great pirates opened. Whether it's the alliance countries or the world government, they will inevitably put pressure on Marine. As a result, Marine had to make compromises in order to restore its vitality as soon as possible and attract those strong folks from all over the world to join, giving up some initial bottom lines and principles. Tisk tisk, as long as you have the strength, you can directly become a senior general of naval headquarters. It is indeed very attractive. Custard laughed there and said, if it wasn't for being a pirate, I would be a little bit moved. However, in this way, how can we think about those generals in Marine who have worked hard, put in countless blood and sweat, and fought for justice for decades before they can climb to high positions? Armand, who was puffing smoke and holding a cigarette, sarcastically said, Where is the justice they talk about? Gu. Grabbing a huge piece of bone and meat, he stuffed it whole into his mouth. Blue Ogre, whose body was as tall as a mountain, had a voice like a bell, and said with a nonchalant smile, "Quack, quack, quack. Anyway, the whole sea should be in an uproar now, right?"